welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You're gathered with us this fine Saturday morning for the Winner's Circle.
Yes, sir.
Is it me? Am I doing it?
Well, you usually do. I mean, normally you do at least the welcome to Workhorse intro. So I was kind of.
I didn't think I did Saturday.
Maybe I haven't been paying attention. Nonetheless, we are all here gathered again on this fine Saturday, October 5th, bright and early 7 a.m. over here. I'm still wiping the sleep out of my eyes. But we're going to talk about an exciting week of wrestling. This is episode 10, and I believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe AEW Dynamite is 9-0.
It's not 9-0. What are y'all talking about?
You're 8-1. Was there 1 week that Raw won?
The SummerSlam Raw, the Raw after SummerSlam, they definitely beat. Yes, and then last week it was a tie.
Were we on for that week?
It was just. Well, I said it was I said it was Raw. You said it was Dynamite. We were on for that week. It was, but I think it was just AEW and
Does that count if we weren't here?
Yes, it does count. Oh, so we're doing 9-1, and I'm pretty sure we weren't here for all of them. But I guess because Raw won that one. Oh, because we weren't here. No, yes, it does count.
8-1. I guess it would be 8-1 or 8-1. I guess so.
8.5. 7.5.
Well, we'll give them 7-2. I don't remember what the second one was, but I'll take your word for it.
I'm not giving them 7-2. We'll give them 8 more.
No. Like I said, last week was a tie.
Last week was not a tie.
Yes, it was a tie. Yes, it was. Yes, it.
You blew them out of the water.
Either the last week or the week before last.
I wasn't here the week before last.
Within 3 weeks.
Were here. I wasn't here. So if it was a tie,
it might have been a tie that week. I don't honestly.
Whatever week it was. It was 2 weeks ago. Whatever week we had Bianca versus Io, and then that trash match on Dynamite. I'm like, no, it was Raw because you can't tell me the four. Yes. Let me bring the camera. You can't tell me that week behind women's tag team match beat Io versus Bianca. That's why I said it was the 2.5. I'm being gracious about that.
I wasn't here for that, so
AEW dominates Winner's Circle the way the Cowboys dominate the NFC East.
Oh, wow. See, that's why we definitely can't bring your word for it. Moving on.
I mean, who else?
All right. I don't want to get too into football because Sammy will start talking football, and then we'll be here all day
absolutely will.
So, all right. So let's go ahead and crack this week open as usual with Monday Night Raw. Mr. Sammy, you want to lead us through Monday Night Raw as usual?
We kicked off the show with Jey Uso coming out.
Yes, yeet.
He had a promo in the ring with Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker did not attack him.
Yeah, I didn't really care for this. I didn't think either of them was very good on the mic. I didn't even Jay before when he came out and was like doing his little celebratory promo. I mean, it was okay, but it almost felt like he was maybe a little nervous, and I didn't blame him. Like, he's probably a little emotional. It's 14 years. It's his first or 12 years and his first singles title, so I get it. I mean, it's probably a little emotional and all that, but he didn't feel quite on point for him as he normally does, which is especially in ring promo stuff. And then I didn't really like the whole Braun comes out and I give you your respect and we shake hands and walk away. Like, it is what it is. It's fine. I mean, not everybody always has to have animosity and fight with each other, but I don't know. You guys are supposed to be technically, superstars that are, fighting ultimately for the same position. It just feels weird. It's like, I guess it is what it is, but like, it's like watching sports nowadays to a certain extent where they, you pick up teammates when you used to not do that. Like, you never have to teammate up off the field. Maybe in football every once in a while if it was bad or whatever, but.
Well, no. People would help out their teammates, helping out the opposing team. Like,
that's what I meant. Opposing
tackling a dude and then, blows the whistle and then you help back up. Sportsmanship. Like Mike
Yeah.
Parsons inviting a rival player, a player from a rival team onto his podcast. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah, that feels a little bit different, but I mean that's some of that's business. But like the whole swapping jerseys, which a lot of players did for a while a few years ago, and
man.
and more than that, like as a basketball fan, I'm speaking more like when they foul a guy and then they help him up, or a guy falls down and then you help him up. You don't do that. You let that guy's got to get up by his own and let his teammates help him up. Now you can't help the opposing team up.
I saw an image of a jersey switch that was making its rounds online. Dude with the last name Dick, and the other dude, his last name was Black. And so
Nice.
that was up, and everybody had a good laugh.
I'm not.
So that's how this felt a little bit to me, but I guess it is what it is. What did you guys think of it?
I thought it was fine, and it was different. Like I definitely thought Braun was going to attack him, and like I thought it was a nice moment, and it had more of the actual sports feel of like, listen, like we're both athletes, we're both top of the game, we're both competitive, but like the competition isn't happening right now between us, so we can just be cool with each other.
Yeah, and also I like the whole Jay being off. I did like that because like that's actually like people were saying around town, and I do agree. It's true emotion. It's like it's one thing where you win. It's like actually like oh shoot, I did that realization of oh shoot, I'm actually the intercontinental champion. Hits you a little different. It's like wait, it's like just give me a moment. And maybe if he would just say give me a moment. Either way, I'm like yeah, like you're a champ, sir. Like, you can take this in. You can take this in. And I think maybe that's one of the things you have to teach people when they win. Like, you can take the moments in. You don't have to be on cue all the time. With Braun Breaker, right? I do appreciate him saying it's not about you. I have respect for the title, so congrats. And then we later on discover why this little interaction is needed because he's going to be. It might be a little facing Gunther and Horizon, and even though like sometimes you can go for it with heel versus heel and be fine, 7 out of 10 times, it gotta be a dichotomy. It gotta be a heel and a face to be a better match. So it's like, yeah, just let him get like not overly baby face, like just a little baby face because Gunther is in his bag right now. So if we're gonna do this down the line. It's like, yeah, just give us a little baby face sprinkle. Don't douse it. Just a little dash.
All right. Up next, we had Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio. So Xavier Woods ripped off Rey Mysterio's mask and
it was an accident.
Rolled him up. 1, 2, 3.
It was an accident.
Being Rey Mysterio.
I disagree. I think it's heel Woods.
It was
on purpose.
It was an accident. Y'all will not have the slander on this channel. It was an accident.
Yeah, I never slandered. Just said what happened.
He did not pull it. No, he did not pull it off. Pulling it off means you see his hand go behind his head and rip it down. Did y'all see that? No.
Okay. But now, on this Raw, there's going to be 2 instances where he manages to do something shady and make it look like it was an accident. Once, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Listen, I fell for it when Dom did it. I'm not falling for it now.
I agree.
The second time was full on heel. The second time was you did something stupid. This time was an accident. But the second time it was straight up. No, I can't even say maybe.
All right.
I mean,
Up next,
this was what it was. I mean, again, this is all leading up to I believe this is leading up to the Kofi Xavier fallout, and everyone else is just kind of along for the ride, which is fine. I mean, Ray doesn't really need a whole storyline for himself at the moment, anyhow, and the LWO is doing whatever it's doing, so or not doing anything, so it's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with it ultimately. I'm here for Xavier versus Kofi. I'm here for kind of that fallout and that breakup. I mean, I didn't think I wanted it. I thought New Day was one of those groups, even though they're not like my favorite group. They were one of those groups I figured would just stay together, and I wanted that. But now that this is kind of happening, I'm here for it. I kind of like it.
Big E's not coming back. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So
The way that they're booking was before, I was like, oh well, Big E's coming back, and now the booking is, oh, Big E's not coming back.
So here's the thing, right? I believe Survivor Series is the 10th anniversary of New Day officially, right? So I'm just here for that ride. I really don't know what they're going to do for their anniversary. Either it's a match or Big E comes back. But like you said, as so far, this has been so freaking interesting with Xavier and Kofi. Honestly, I don't want them to break up, but all in all, I do want Xavier to be a singles competitor. I do want him to don't dip in the pool. Just drop him in 6 feet and let him go for some stuff legitimately,
I find it really interesting that even though he can't wrestle, that he's been all over like pre-shows and WWE stuff, that he's not at least been involved in some way in talking and some interaction. I mean, it just seems weird that maybe you would think that if it's too hard, then you wouldn't want to be involved at all. You would think talking about it for an hour on the pre-show before the pay-per-view would be too much too. It seems weird to me. I mean, I don't know why they haven't utilized him in some at least managerial type role or help. You know what I mean? When it comes to the New Day, well, he's been out. It just seems odd.
I'd put him on commentary. I mean, at the very least, like I'd make him an announcer.
But like I said, the anniversary for this in particularly, the anniversary I believe is Survivor Series. So
right.
I think you hold out on the Big E interaction until November. That's just me, but I think you hold out until November. Like
next month.
Yep. But if they have this match, do like a William Regal-esque thing from AEW Revolution, like after the match they're still fighting, let Big E come down and slap both of them, like get it together, like oh my, and it's like oh my god, like, that would be cool.
Yeah. Either way, I'm here for this.
Yes.
Up next, we had Lyra Valkyria facing off against Zoe Stark. Sonya Deville involved, kicked Lyra in the head, and Stark got the win.
Finally, pure Fusion Collective win.
And after the match, Caden Carter and Katana Chance return and help out Lyra.
It's funny, like, I absolutely love Shayna Baszler, but other than that, and I mean, I don't dislike Lyra, but other than that, I really couldn't care about any of the other women in this. Sonya has never really done anything for me. Zoe Stark doesn't do anything for me. I like Casey Catanzaro, who's now, I guess, Katana Chance, but they don't really move the needle for me as far as women wrestlers go or as a tag team goes, especially if you think, when you're putting them up against some of the bigger tag teams, i.e. Jade and Bianca or, whoever it is, Damage Control. It feels like they come in, very, very short on that, and when you're comparing those guys, so this to me is whatever it is. I mean, I don't, it was fine ultimately, but
if WWE had a Rampage equivalent, they'd be on that.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. So I mean, this was okay, but at the same time, we can debate which show is better, Raw or SmackDown, and obviously at different times, different shows been better. I still think WWE, for whatever reason, sees Raw as the A show, and for this to be on Raw, it felt a little down. I was like, oh, okay, it is what it is, I guess. You know,
No,
it's a little underwhelming for Raw.
We were talking about this last night, and it's crazy the differences in the Raw Women's Division and SmackDown. The SmackDown Women's Division is killing it right now. If you do not watch anything this weekend, honestly, watch Meacham versus Chelsea Green, the dumpster match. It's so surprisingly freaking good. And then they have.
I felt like it was like a knockouts match. It did not feel like a WWE match. It felt TNA. And
then they had Tiffany and Naomi go for a bout, and like I'm actually loving the Tiffany and Nia Jax interaction. It's like y'all do know. I don't think it's the B show because hey, you asked me, SmackDown for life. But whatever you're doing over here, cut that in half and put it on Raw. Cut it in half and put it on Raw.
So Kofi revealed that Woods has a match versus Uso next week for the Intercontinental title.
Holy shit, Roman Reigns is in the house. What's up, sir? I know I said some disrespectful things in the past, but since you're here now, I'll
acknowledge you, OTC.
No, thanks for joining us. I don't know if I'll go that far, but thanks for joining us. Let us know what you thought of Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry, say it again, Timmy. We had what now?
Next week, Xavier Woods will face Jey Uso.
Yes. Oh, so this was interesting. This was when Kofi and Xavier were backstage, and Kofi started to say, blah, 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 I got a match, and Xavier started to get an attitude about it. Kofi was like, dog, I got it for you. I got you the match. I said you needed the match. And then he was all happy about it, right? I still, at some point, feel like Xavier is going to have a bone to pick about that. He's going to be like, when he turns, he's going to be like, oh, and then you got me that match when I didn't need you to do nothing for me. I didn't need your help. Because that's what it felt like. Oh, you can't get your own match, or I'm going to give you my match. Like, at the moment, he was cool with it, but like, yeah, I don't know. It felt a little like, okay, I can see this in the future as being a little bone of contention. So, I mean, this whole segment just furthers the tension between these two, and I love the way they're doing it. Both these guys are so good, just talkers and actors, and you know what I mean? So the story works because the two of them are so good. The chemistry is so good.
Right. No, totally do all that. When they have the breakdown, I want Xavier to say it just like that. I don't need you to do nothing for me. I can get stuff on my own. But you can like you said, they're doing it very well because it's not like they're glossing over the tension. They address the tension thousands of times, but it's still there. But like as for now, there's nothing we can do but just like talk about it and then move on until one of us hit each other in the head. And so I love, like you said, love all this.
Up next, we had a promo with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre inside of the cage.
This was good.
Punk said a line of sending him back to Scotland in a box. And
for what it was, I thought it was okay. I didn't think. I'm already interested in this match because they've done a decent job with this feud. I didn't think this particular segment did anything to make me any more excited for the Bad Blood match. Well, it wasn't bad. It just didn't make me more excited as the go-home show.
No, totally agree. I just love that they're like, with some, like, I guess like a SummerSlam match, right? They basically repeated everything they said before they did the match on the go home Raw. So just like they're like, we got nothing else to say. We said everything we said. So like it's like it is what it is. And basically we're going to try to unalive each other in this sale. I do love the tension of my hate dies with you, and when you like, and the CM Punk come out with you pray for this. So in the cage, when you're on your hands and knees, you're not going to be praying to God or the devil. It's to CM Punk. So like it's like this is going to be I have high expectations for it. It's going to be so good. Real quick, not sure they changed it, but I don't think they are because it's today. I believe the Hell in a Cell will be the first match on Bad Blood. How do y'all feel about that?
That's fine. I mean, you get it out of the way. I guess it depends. I assume that means Roman and Cody are main eventing against Solo and Jacob Fatu. I assume that has to be the main event. So, which honestly, I think they should be swapped myself, just because I think the one is more exciting, Punk and Drew. But that's just me. But Solo and Cody, Cody and Roman are two of your biggest stars. So I mean, they're gonna go. I mean, if not your two biggest stars, so they're gonna go in the main event. I understand why they do that. I mean, it's not necessarily the way I would like it done, but I understand why they're doing it.
Also, the ending might be playing into that too.
This segment for me was just it wasn't needed. This is filler. Like, this is one of the things that I hope can go away when they do away with the third hour. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't needed. It didn't do anything to really boost the match for me. There was no contact. All they did was stand in the ring. And what? Just for effect, they had to bring the cage to the cell down. Like, this is dumb, dude. You're gonna be in there for all of 10 seconds, or I mean, it was more than that. It was maybe 5 minutes, but 10 minutes at most. But so you got to bring the whole cell down. It's like, come on, dude. This is dumb.
Also,
so I mean,
AEW's last pay-per-view, they finished with the cage match as well. So maybe they didn't want to go like have people saying that they're copying or whatever.
Let me ask you a question. How much do you think there's that going on when Triple H is booking a pay-per-view or Tony Khan's booking a pay-per-view? You really think they sit and go, oh shit, at Bad Blood, Triple H booked this, so I don't want to do that. I want to do it this way? Or vice versa? You really think
I think there's at least a person in the back who pays attention to that. And it's just like, well, they're doing that, so if we do that too.
Interesting.
Baseline is, I do believe, like, my mind goes to last year when it was, I want to say, Survivor Series versus Collision, and they're going head to head. I do believe if they know the card, they move the matches to compete against whatever match. You know what I'm saying? What matches facing each other? I remember tragically the 4-way between Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy going up against the cage match of the House of Black with FTR and Danny Garcia. And I'm like, yeah, that was a good matchup because not sure what happened in that fatal 4-way, but that was a snore. I was not. Why? It was on my TV, but my eyes were glued to my phone watching the cage match on Collision.
And I mean, obviously, I don't. It's a totally different situation, but we've seen how wrestling companies can be petty in the past, i.e. Eric Bischoff giving away, the results of Monday Night Live, Monday Night Raw. So obviously it wouldn't be something new to think that these guys are at least paying attention to each other, know what each other's doing. I mean, that's been something that's been going on for years. So I guess it would be naive on my part to think that they weren't, I suppose.
So about the box comment, I was just like, man, hasn't the Galloway family been through enough here of late?
All right.
So R-Truth is back.
Yay!
Yeah. Yep, R-Truth is back. We're all happy about it.
So,
okay. The Miz appears to be happy about it. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Up next, we have the LWO versus the Judgment Day. And they did the thing that I thought that they were going to do. Where, they say Finn's gone. Oh, nope, Finn isn't gone. Finn is here. Finn gets involved.
I'm not sure if I was just sleepy, and I'm glad it wasn't just me, but I didn't think of the whole fake out of the phone he wasn't going to be. I honestly was like, oh, okay. I mean, boo, but I do the match. I also didn't think he was going to come out and help them with more so with the LWO. I mean, out of everybody, like you do the fake out when you're going up against Damian Priest or Gunther or Braun Breaker. I'm like, no offense to LWO. Like I said, I love that they got this time to shine because it's like, oh look, Joaquin Wow and Toro, they're actually good. We need to buff up the tag team, so let's get them some. And look, you do have a Dragon Lee, so I do love that they're on the team. They're on the card, but I didn't think they were big enough to warrant a Finn fake out over the phone thing. So when it came out, I'm like, oh. Man, what? That was my expression. Man, why are you lying on the phone? Anybody got time for this? And so, like I said, I do like FWO getting some time on TV.
So this is, I think, the third match of the night, right? And 2 of the 3 matches so far, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but 2 of the 3 matches had involvement that ultimately affected the match. I know I've been complaining about this for a little while now, but it feels like both AEW and WWE are having way too many matches with too many people involved that are at least in some way affecting the outcome or getting involved. If they don't affect the outcome, getting involved in the matches. Not enough clean matches, let's put it that way. And secondly,
and the match that didn't have involvement had the mask rip off and roll up.
Right, exactly. So, and also, I mean, I don't hate to talk bad about anybody. When I say somebody's mid-carder or this feels mid-card, I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way. It's just the feeling that you get. And unfortunately, in this match, it feels like there was a lot of that. You know, that's just kind of how it feels. You got Big Head, you got Carlito, you've got the 2 members from LWO.
Respect this man. His name is not Big Head.
When we put Carlito, we're going to call Carlito and JD together. They're Big Apple, so we're going to call him Big Apple.
No, we're not calling him Big Apple. No, we're not.
And then you've got the 2 LWO members that get the least amount of, face time. So, I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't a bad match, and all these guys are talented. It just feels very mid-cardish for Monday Night Raw. And you've got to have stuff to take place. I get it. Right now, you still have a 3-hour show to feel. Not everything can be main event. I get that. And at the same time, it's hard to feel overly engaged in something where you're like, okay, all these guys are mid-card. So, it is what it is. I think Dragon Lee's probably better than that. He should be better than that.
Yeah.
And, you can debate Dominic or whatever, but,
Listen, it's going to be better when they kick out
who?
Joaquin and Cruz and put in the Lucha Bros.
No, it's not. Okay, look here, Missourian. We're not going to exchange like they're freaking collectible action figures, okay? On it.
That's what you think.
That's what you think. Don't put that on me. That's what you think.
It's going to happen.
Joaquin and Gran Toro are great. They just need more time on television.
They're going to get sent back to NXT.
You've been doing this for the whole time, talking about, it's going to be better with Angel Garza and Humberto. Sir.
It was. What is it not? It's not. Is Legado not better with them?
They have not one Jake. I was on SmackDown. Don't do that.
The way that they reacted.
I was just go ahead, Timmy. Finish what you were saying.
The way they reacted to the Chelsea Green bit. I mean, the best though was Waller.
No, yes, I know.
Penta was just quoted as saying that their contract is not up yet, and that he's not sure, that they don't know what they're doing.
And
but
right
that
now,
he is under contract with AEW. So. And
TKBP and Petty stacking on time for Ray Phoenix because he got hurt. Oh, you owe me enough. Stop, sir. You being real petty right now. I'm just saying.
I mean, it is petty, but it's also what WWE does. So
it's not good when anybody does it. I'm saying you have a Ray Phoenix on your card. If he is still on your roster, don't bench him. At least give me Ray Phoenix versus Ricochet. Damn it!
I feel
Liam says it's not petty, it's business, and I agree.
It's petty business.
Business is petty.
Now that there's no more Damian Priest and no more Rhea Ripley in Judgment Day, Finn has to get away from there because the rest of them are really mid-carders, and I think he's being held down. When it was Rhea and Damian and Finn, you had 3 main eventers controlling a big faction, but now it's just Finn, and he feels this is below him to be doing this stuff at this point, I think, or where he should be, at least how he should be being booked.
I think it'd be better if he brought in the Good Brothers.
CM says he wasn't trying to bench them until they ran their mouths.
I blame Conan. Stop listening to Conan. no offense. No offense, but how successful is Conan to be listening to him like this?
All right. Well,
All right. What was
take up
next?
the pace. So the Terror Twins came out. They attacked the Judgment Day, and Rhea tried putting Dom into the shark cage.
Which is
Apparently,
hilarious.
he's extremely claustrophobic. We know you were extremely claustrophobic. I didn't know that we knew that before this, so okay.
No, I think that someone made a great point. I think it was a goal, and there was like this him being claustrophobic. You should have introduced this to us last week so we could play on it. This like I needed multiple times of Rhea trying to put Dom in some close spaces and him freaking out. I needed that one more time before today. That's what I definitely that's what I needed. But it was still good.
It felt like, let's decide to do the shark tank and then we'll make Dominic claustrophobic. It's like, no, you should have had Dominic claustrophobic like a month ago, and then that's why they used the shark tank.
Right?
Sheamus challenged Pete Dunne to a Donnybrook match.
Yes. I'm here for that, obviously.
Do you think it was going to end any other way?
I almost thought when he was holding the shillelagh, I thought he was going to say like a shillelagh match or something. I didn't know. Like maybe they were going to put it on a pole or something, and the winner got to beat the other one with the shillelagh or something. I don't know. But Donnybrook is what? Just a no disqualification match? What, a street fight?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a street fight.
So I guess it is what it is. I mean, I'm excited because I like both guys, and it should be fun. And I love Sheamus. I thought this was a good promo. I love him taunting Pete Dunne. But the only thing I was hoping, and I understand why they didn't do it, I kind of wanted Pete Dunne to attack him from behind during the promo. That's kind of what I wanted, but I understand why they didn't do it.
Up next, we had Kofi Kingston versus Chad Gable, in which if it wasn't for the main event, I'd call this match of the night.
This was a wrestling light. Okay, so when I say that, they had several matches, but there wasn't a whole lot of wrestling on the show when it came down to it, or at least good wrestling. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I mean, this was good until it wasn't, when Xavier got involved and pulled Chad Gable's leg, trying to make it look like, I guess he was trying to help Kofi, but ultimately cost Kofi the match. We're all in agreement that this was really a heel move, right? At least this was a bigger heel move, or a less subtle heel move than the earlier one. Let's put it that way.
It was a little too short. It should have been longer. But, I mean, aside from the ending of it, I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, I mean, these two deserve more time. I mean, both these guys can really wrestle, and they, I mean, if given the proper amount of time, they could have a really good match. I hate to say this, but if WWE actually cared about the real in-ring between the rope work, these two would have been given 15 minutes and had an opportunity to actually shine. But that's not what WWE is here for. So,
we had a video package of Kairi Sane and Io Sky issuing a challenge to Bianca and Jade.
Yes. I thought this was solid. I mean, other than the fact that, and I know that people look at me crazy and are like, I don't, and I sound terrible, and whatever the case may be. There is a slight language barrier. I'm not going to lie. Like, it is what it is. It's fine. I can understand what they're saying. It's still not the smoothest promos when they're on. That being said, I thought it was good. I thought it was great. And I'm here for both of them. So,
Who's them out?
Oh, the damage control promo. Io and Kairi Sane calling out Bianca and Jade.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I actually like that whole, listen, we're not even going to try, like, look, I'm going to take my native language, here's subtitles down there. It gives a nice little feel to it. So I did like that look.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we had a in-ring promo with Gunther and Sami Zayn. Honestly, like, this might have been the best promo of the show.
This might have been the best segment of the whole show. Promo match, whatever. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I thought this was the best part of the whole Raw.
Sami Zayn is a national treasure, and we should cherish him.
Oh, no, most definitely.
And even though he's not, like, the most, like, intense, He's not a Hulk Hogan promo. He's not a Randy Orton promo. There's something about the way Gunther kind of cavalierly takes stuff until he doesn't that is great. Like, he's a little too wordy at times, but ultimately, like, just his attitude about stuff, like, he goes from laughing to serious and then back to laugh. It just he's good at what he does, and it comes across well.
Yeah. No,
And
just
these
the
these
whole
two have really good chemistry.
right.
So
No, like I love that this is this Gunther's first opponent after as world champion.
I believe so. I think so.
If so, then yes, this is the excellent choice for his first opposition. And like I did like the whole he's like, I have a family there too. I wasn't parading him around for something like you. I'm like early, shut up. It's like those annoying little nuances was supposed to get under your skin. Like, shut up. Just because you want to keep your family hidden, shut up.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see that they're continuing to push Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was afraid that after he got the IC title and dropped it, that maybe he might be cooled back down. But they're keeping him warm, and they're warming him up more. They're heating him up. So I'm happy with that.
Up next, we had the Wyatt 6 promo package thing, the video clip stuff.
So
and,
the message.
It's believed that it's teasing the return of Alexa Bliss.
So I didn't get that when they showed this. My mind immediately went to Xavier Woods because it said, "Don't go down this path; it'll destroy you." And so I'm like, "Oh!" So in my mind, like, and I guess what you call it, this whole thing of them being like vigilantes a little bit, where they're gonna take care of people who have disowned their family, they're doing wrong. So with that train of thought, I'm like, oh, Xavier is going down the wrong path. He is disowning Kofi a little bit. I thought that's what they were going towards. I didn't get Alexa Bliss. I think they said that she was in the video. I'm like, I didn't see her. What are y'all talking about?
It's funny because I didn't get either of those impressions from this. I got, here we go, another video that doesn't get to the point, that doesn't do anything but make you go, why do we have to see this again? Like, I get it. Like, I understand. You're mysterious. We all understand. But, like, you got to do more. There's got to be more practical action. And I understand they've had their deal with Chad Gable and American Made. I get it. But there just has to be more than just the video. And I'm tired of the videos.
Yeah.
Get to the point in the video.
Yeah. But it seems like their next opponent or quest is coming soon. So I do like that, yes.
They revealed that Ilya Dragunov will be out to injury for the next 6 to 9 months.
Poor Ilya. Luckily, I think he's still, I mean, I could be wrong because every time I say this, someone's like, no, he's 100. I think he's still young. So I think he's still in his late 20s, early 30s. So luckily, he's still got age underneath him. I mean,
Ilya, yeah, I think he's mid to late 20s.
Yeah,
I can Google it if you want to know for sure.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, we can. But I'm just saying, every time I say someone's young, everyone's like, no, he's like 50 already. I'm like, well, I've only seen him 3 times on my TV ever wrestle. So to me, he's young. So. But yeah, no, I'm definitely disappointed that Ilya is out.
Oh,
I was
30.
I was excited for him to go to the main roster. I wasn't totally sure what lane was right for him or what story was right or creative was right for him. And I'm still not sure if they figured that out before he got injured, which is unfortunate. I think maybe they were starting to, think about what to do with him ultimately. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully by the time he comes back, they'll have a better idea of what they want to do with him on the main roster.
I'm honestly a little surprised he's my age. I thought he would be like a few years younger than me.
All these guys are always older than I think they are.
So how old is he?
He's 30.
Okay.
He's about to be 31. His birthday's in like a week.
I did think he was like 28, 29.
It sucks to have this happen anytime, but at least he's not 40 or 45. I mean, I do think it does make a difference, and he should be able to come back from this. So,
happy birthday to Ilya Dragunov, which will be in 5 days.
Oh, happy early birthday, sir.
Up next, we had the Awesome Truth take on the Authors of Pain.
So
Hey,
full set, so full setup, right? Miz was confronting Braun Strowman, talking about I'm a monster. Like, no, you're not. Shut up. And so that's when we saw that our truth came back, and so Braun was like, you know what? I gotta take care of the situation. Y'all go handle it out. And then, of course, in true truth fashion, I got us a match with I'm not even sure who he didn't say AOP. I was like,
AOP.
The AOP. And so he's like, oh, that pain? I was like, yeah, come on. And we finally
like, who's AOP?
What are you talking about, dude? But we finally get the turn. Miz turns on Truth. I would have done this way sooner.
Final Testament finally gets a win on the main roster.
Yeah. Like I still separate AOP with the Final Testament. I'm like, stop. No, they're not with Karrion Kross. I'm sorry. Until the anti-Avengers have to form, they're by themselves. Because Karrion Kross will do nothing for them. They're by themselves.
Now, Karrion Kross looked extremely happy. Obviously, does that imply that the Miz may join Final Testament? The Miz would help them immensely because he would give them at least an A+ personality on them. I mean, someone that actually people care about a little bit. Do you like that idea? Do you think that's what they should do?
I don't think that's what they're doing. I think this is just manipulation on Kross's part.
Karrion just being a little instigator, which I do love for him. I don't care about him like that, but yeah, like if that's his role, let's amp it up just a little bit more.
So here's the thing: WWE really likes the Miz with someone else, and if he's not going to be with R-Truth, what's he going to do now? I know he's had a good singles career and stuff, but they definitely like him at least partnered or doing something with somebody else. They always feel like he needs to have a cohort of some sort. So what's he do now that it's no more him and Truth?
Well, this right here, that was more for Truth than the Miz because, like, he was going up against Judgment Day, and I think the aesthetics of just Truth versus Judgment Day wasn't good. They're like, all right, we'll put Miz in here. So I don't like. Again, he is a good tag team, but he can't do stuff by himself. Him in the New Testament are not a good fit. I really like let him float by himself for a minute. Cause I'm trying to think. He's good when he had as a heel. He's good when he has an Alex Riley or a Damian Sandow, not an equal, but someone he's somewhat mentoring but manipulating. And you don't have that on the roster right now, to my knowledge. So like, let him float until you get that someone first.
Makes sense.
And up last, we have the main event.
Wow!
It is the last Monster Standing match.
Ooh, do this fast. Yeah,
Braun versus Bronson.
Oh wait, I missed the chat of Kofi versus American Made.
Oh yeah,
we talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we did.
Okay.
Did you want to? No, if you want to go ahead and make a comment about it, say what you wanted to say about it.
Real quick, very glad that Chad Gable got the win. Like, yes, if you're going to make him a mainstay of whatever section of your show, he needs to win. So this was good. And as we were saying, that was definitely on purpose. He was trying to help Kofi, but it was on purpose to hold Gable's leg.
Here's the question that I have, though. And don't get me wrong, it's great for Chad to get the win. But is that really the important thing coming out of it? And to me, it felt like he was the third wheel to the Kofi Xavier. That's really what it's about. He's just there to further facilitate that, and it could have been anybody. I mean, it's good to see Chad, but it could have been anybody.
Like, no. So this, in an instant, served all purposes. Chad did need a win. even though this isn't his storyline, you gave him a win and you furthered the storyline of the New Day. So you're right. It could have been anybody, but I am glad it was Chad. So you can give him those wins. So you killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah. The main event. I'll be honest with you. I thought this summed up this disappointing Raw for me in general. I thought this match was fine in a vacuum. For me, and I understand if the goal is to push both these guys to be main event guys, that's fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I think they both have some weaknesses here and there. I'm not going to get too much into that. This to be your Raw main event for your go-home show for Bad Blood and have nothing to do with Bad Blood, to me is a miss. This match being your main event at any time, let alone on the go-home show for Bad Blood, is a miss. This should be a middle or a beginning of the show match. I don't see these two being a main event match. That being said, I thought it was fine for what it was. At the same time, we've seen this already. This is like the third or fourth time that we've seen essentially the same kind of thing. Chaos, carnage, the ring breaks, and here we are. It feels like it's the same thing kind of over and over again. So I feel like if you were going to do this, you should have done it at Bad Blood. They're one of the few actually grudge feuds you have going at the moment that would make sense for Bad Blood. That being said, I don't know. It is what it is. I thought this was a very middle of the road Raw, and this being the main event.
They closed it off with the return of Seth freaking Rollins.
All right, because y'all acting like y'all like Dynamite. Push off. Okay, as someone who loves this show, and more so this match, this was good, and this is why. Because, like you said, we've been doing this monster versus monster thing for a couple of weeks now. No, actually, I think the question in everyone's mind was, what are you going to do in this match that you haven't already done? And I think they did give us enough for that. Like Braun Strowman. I'm not sure what happened to your knees, but I'm pretty sure something happened. So why did you fly off the top rope? Sir, you are too big for this. But I appreciate that. They actually finally did the whole wing breaking thing. And I love that it didn't collapse. Cause I'm like you said, we've already done this 2 times. So it collapsing fully down, I'm like, come on. But no, it's like we did reinforce this. So the whole so it can't break all the way down. This little boom. So I actually like that. The ending with Seth Rollins coming out. First reaction, not knowing about other returns that may or may not happen at Bad Blood. I was like, boo, 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 because, like you said, in this feud,
you're not going to do is sit here and keep alluding to this mysterious surprise and not tell us who you think it is. You can't keep doing that.
Y'all are going to watch Bad Blood, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to be surprised. I don't have any confirmation of who's happening. I just have who people think is going to happen. But either way,
so what do you grade this?
No, wait.
Were you finished it? Hold on.
Yeah, real quick. Well, how did y'all feel about Seth making Bronson Reed lose? Because at the moment, I'm like, no, Bronson Reed should have won. If he beats Seth, then okay. But even though this is a new regime, my faith is at 75%, and y'all do love Seth. So I'm like, it is very much possible you just let Seth beat Bronson, and I'm very worried about that. So how did y'all feel about the ending of Seth coming back and curb stomping? I do love you get your little lick back, but I don't care much about you to get your lick back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care that you got your lick back.
I think they had to do it because obviously, Bronson tsunami'd Seth 25,000 times. So I get it. Like I understand why. At the same time, the same reason that I feel like this shouldn't have been a main event. And even though both these guys are, being pushed, I don't know if they're at that main event level. It feels like Seth is coming down to their level to be involved in this. And that feels a little odd. I think they wanted it the other way around, and maybe other people feel differently about it. Maybe Seth is giving them the rub that I think they're hoping for. It didn't feel that way to me. I don't know. This doesn't. Seth versus Bronson Reed isn't really that I mean, it's okay. It doesn't really. I don't care. I really like Bronson Reed. I'm so on sets. I like him better sometimes than others.
Right.
But this doesn't really do a whole lot for me. I mean, in my mind, this feels very big guy, little guy again. Even though I know Seth isn't tiny and Bronson Reed is kind of short, but it feels like when I think of these two in my head, there's no way a Bronson Reed should be losing to a Seth Rollins in a match. So that's just the way I feel about it. So it feels weird to me, especially if Seth's going to get to win.
Like, again, we don't. I believe they're going to let Bronson beat Seth. Not 100%
That would
on
be
it.
better.
I believe they're going to do that, but it's Seth and Triple H, so you never know.
That would be better. For me, I thought this was a very mediocre Raw, and I'm not just an AEW stan because you're going to hear next. I thought this was like a C, maybe a C plus if I'm being generous. I thought the wrestling was really light, and what was on the show wasn't very good. I didn't think they did a whole lot to necessarily build up for Bad Blood. There were a couple things, but not enough. And I thought the main event probably didn't deserve to be the main event and was a little underwhelming in my opinion. So
I have to give it a B. I gave last week a B minus, and I felt like this was better than last week, so it's a B.
all right then.
Nika? B as well. B as well. I do feel what you're saying about Bad Blood. It's crazy because I've already wired my mind that this isn't the go home show. SmackDown's the go home show. Even though it's a split brand, they never treat Raw as the official go home show of their brand. It's always SmackDown is the go home show of the premium live event. This is just my mental. Like anyone else that's like, no, both should be go home shows. I don't disagree. But in that mind state, yeah, I can see. I left satisfied. I'll say that.
All right, ALW.
Yes, this show I'm excited because finally we may have a week where NXT can at least compete. Normally, we should all know that it's probably going to be the third show on the list, but this week I definitely thought it was way better than Raw. And I will see. I mean, I don't. At this point, AEW is so in its bag that it's hard to beat them at all. I think it just is what it is when you're getting the matches that you get on AEW, especially on weekly TV. But that being said, we are here for the debut of NXT on the CW. And it started off with Shawn Michaels making his way to the ring to talk about the history of the night. Wow. And him and Triple H asked if, are you ready? I don't know. I mean, obviously, that's not the important part. The important part is that the first match of the night was the NXT Women's Championship match. But that being said, did you like to see your boy? Your boys?
Oh, let's be very clear. Anytime I see my baby Shawn Michaels, it's gonna be a good time. Now, I real life wonder if Shawn knew that Triple H was coming out behind him. Cause like when he came out, I'm not sure if it was planned, but if it was planned, my baby's face was like he did it perfectly. I don't think he knew that he was coming out. He's like, really, bro? You real life did tell me you was gonna be here? Like, shut up! I can't. That whole. You know, your best friend would be so like, shut up! I can't stand you. That's what it felt. That's what it felt like. And even though like HBK's in charge, this will always be Triple H's baby. I believe Shawn Michaels respects that as well. It's like this is always going to be your baby. I'm just the uncle. Like I love it, but this is your baby. So watching them, seeing them both, it's like NXT.
And also, if you've noticed in the beginning, there is a new NXT logo and song. So we're going into, I don't know what we're going to call this, but clearly this feels like the switching in, we'll call it maybe the CW era. I don't know what we're going to call it, but I feel like they've made a change as we started on CW. I do like the new all silver logo. We also saw a new NXT Women's World title that looks more packaged around the new look. So you like the new look and the new title?
Anything besides the NXT Nick at Night thing is going to be good, right? I didn't think they needed to replace the titles, but they don't suck. it feels like when I saw the titles, I immediately like built Fort Tough. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not even sure how to describe that, but it's like heavily industrial duty championships. Like that's what it felt like you were going for. Like I said, but it don't suck. I've seen worse. All this is fine.
So that takes us into our opening match, which was the NXT Women's World Title match between the debuting Julia and your NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez.
Before we get into that, we need to discuss the theme song.
Okay. I don't know it, so discuss away.
It's 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the song, so.
I didn't. Oh, wow. So I didn't even. Okay, y'all gotta hear it again. It sounded, even though it's 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne, I didn't hear them. So
yeah, I didn't either.
That's kind of weird. I didn't hear them. I got like that's like I said. Now I gotta watch. I gotta hear it again and see if I can vibe to it. I'm like, but yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again too because I didn't catch that at all. So Julia and Roxanne have a very solid match until, as I like to do so much on this show, complain about people getting involved and not having clean matches. We got a hooded person interfering. Well, not she had her hood on. Not when I say hooded, it wasn't like a ski mask. She literally had her hood on. Yes. Come in and attack Julia. Yeah. And as a result, Roxanne Perez hits the second pop rocks of the match and gets the win. And then we find out the hooded figure is the returning Cora Jade.
Yeah.
So Roxanne Perez retains. This to me, what do you think of this? I'll go ahead and tell me what you guys thought of this first, and then I'll give you my comments.
Let me go first.
The match, and then
let me go, Sammy. Let me go first because you're gonna pontificate till the cows come home. And yes, you're right. I'll go real fast. This was good. You can tell that Roxanne needed this, even though like her matches have been decent. She hasn't really had that competition where it's like, okay, I can go full force with this chick. And so her and Julia going full force, it felt, yeah, I'm glad she's here. The ending. I think we all agreed for Julia not to win, there should be interference. So I'm okay with that. For it to be Cora Jade, it was like, boo. Like anyone, like Stephanie, you have Stephanie back here in your back pocket. I would much rather have it be Stephanie back her helping Roxanne than Cora Jade. Like, no offense. Like, if Julia lost because of Cora Jade, no, boo. But great match, Sammy.
You hit most of the points that I was going to say. What I will say, though, that you didn't mention is that how consistently Julia outmaneuvered, out-wrestled, and was more technical than the Prodigy. Like, she showed that like, when it comes to mat-to-mat wrestling clinics, that Julia can put it on.
So
I was very solid.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I laughed because someone said it. Even though the hype for Julia has been great, this probably was a lot of people's first Julia match. So for anyone who was like, oh, we told you, we know Sammy's seen some matches, but I would have loved to go on Twitter like, oh, really? This was classic Julia. Before this, what was a classic Julia match? No one probably could have told me. But yeah, this was good.
I've made you guys watch a couple.
I don't know what's going on with Stephanie, but Cora Jade being the surprise brought this down a little bit for me. Yeah. And up to then, I thought it was red hot. I mean, the match itself was really good. This was the only way for Julia to lose to Roxanne, in my opinion, was to have someone interfere. I just think it's really a bad choice for that to be Cora Jade. I don't think she deserves to be in that spot. I don't want to see her versus Julia or her versus Roxanne Perez. Honestly, she should be competing with Kalani Jordan, really, for the North American title, in my opinion. I mean, that's, I think, the right spot for her. So So that was a little disappointing. But this match, I thought, was better than any match I saw on Monday Night Raw. That was just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I thought NXT had already beat Raw this week for me. I'll give you a grade at the end, but I thought this was a great opening match. I thought it was a great debut for Julia. She was able to show what a quality wrestler she is because Roxanne's good too. And Roxanne stepped her game up. Julia's good enough to carry anybody and have a good match with anybody. Not that Roxanne needs it, but the two of them had really solid chemistry. I just wish it had been a solid, clean match. And again, you can't really do that because you can't have Julia lose and you don't want her to win the title this fast. I get that. So, but again, underwhelming that it was Cora Jade. So,
Yeah.
but Cora Jade is back. So I guess it is what it is. Then we see more people arriving for this big episode. CM Punk is there, Trick is there, and Ethan Page is there, the three people involved in the main event. Punk will be the special guest referee for Trick and Williams and Ethan Page world title match main event. We get Frazier and Axiom backstage playing video games, talking about their last interaction with 8 Down and how Axiom says Frazier has a temper and can't control his emotions. And then Frazier loses and gets all pissed off and throws the controller and then comes back and tries to be all smiley again. Do you guys care at all about this segment? I know Sammy doesn't like either of these guys. So
It was fine, you know.
I guess if you have to fill time, it is what it is. So
Exactly.
Ava's backstage with CM Punk.
I'm sorry, but it's your debut episode on a new show. There should not be a need to fill time.
Yes, and no. Okay, you are hyping up their segment on Miz TV.
I agree. I agree to a certain extent. I agree to a certain extent with what you're saying. I don't necessarily have a problem with Axiom and Frazier having a little backstage promo or something. Them playing the video game and the way this came off, I thought was corny and dumb. They could have just given a regular promo. I would have rather just seen them just give a regular promo, but it is what it is. It did feel a little underwhelming for the second segment of this big show. So we then had CM Punk talking to Ava, and in comes Lexis King with a very interesting haircut and facial hair. And he talks to CM Punk about his loss last week against Ora Mensa. And Punk gives him the two wolves line. And then they basically part amicably. This was what it is. I mean, I guess if you're supposed to get the rub for Lexis King by being on the screen with CM Punk, okay. I mean, I'm not sure what this was supposed to honestly do. He took a loss last week. Is this supposed to be a win for him now? Because Punk says whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what the point of this was, but
more so, you have a CM Punk on your show, so I think it's more so. Put him whatever little segments you can. A dash of CM Punk here, a dash of CM Punk there.
Yeah, I didn't get that. We get a Wesley Zachary Wentz video package leading up to their fight, their match coming up later in the show. Anything about the video package?
Decent video. You're gonna hype it up. This is actually a very historic. So yeah, if you're the first person to be on CW, I'm just flipping. This is why you should care. And this is why it's going to be awesome.
Jada Parker tells Lola Vice to stay in her lane. And Lola says, I'm taking the lead, so back up. They argue over who needs who. And then Kalani walks up saying that they don't need to, that they need to rely on each other. Jada says, I'll deal with fatal influence, and Lola walks off. And Kalani says she's glad she has a backup plan. What do you think of this little segment? Anything here that did anything for you guys? Want to mention?
I'm here for Jada Parker versus Lola Vice. That's going to be good. As you're trying to build up this women's mid card, these are the top 3 people you should do it with. So keep this up.
Matt,
I agree. What were you going to say, Sammy?
Meh.
Meh. We then get our second match of the show, which is our street fight between Wesley and Zachary Wentz, of which this time Wesley does get the win in a very solid match. I enjoyed this. I thought this was better than their first match, although both were good. I enjoyed this. That being said, I still think both Julia and Roxanne and now Wes and Zach were both better than any matches I watched on Monday Night Raw.
What we're not gonna do is keep saying this. I'm just saying, let's just focus on. We give credit at the end of the show.
I'm not crazy about the promo stuff, but like the matches on NXT were solid.
Yeah. So Wes gets the win. I'm assuming that we're probably going to get another match. Now that they're 1-1, we've got to get a rubber match at some point. I don't know how soon that will be. And at some point, Trey's going to come back and try to get his little piece of Wesley. So we're going to get Wesley and Trey Miguel at some point. Overall, what do you guys think of the match and this feud ongoing?
I love they're giving Zachary Wentz a chance. I love that he's coming back and they're actually making him, even though he's still simply a TNA guy, how he left and why he left was just a whole hot mess. So I am glad they're giving him this little thing while you're pushing Wesley. As you said, this was better the first time. That's how it should be. If you're putting enough money and time into it, the second match should be better than the first.
Ongoing is what you said. Like, why does it need to be ongoing? Like, this feels like it should end it. Like, he's beat him. It's like, where do you go from here? Put him in a cage? Let Wesley beat him again?
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I assume that, as a general rule in wrestling, you usually don't leave things 1-1. That's one. And two, Trey Miguel has to come back and get his little piece of Wesley at some point. So the feud between the Rascals isn't totally over. I mean, between the three of them, at some point, there's got to be more down the road. So they don't necessarily have to do the third match now. If these two took a little break for a minute, if Zachary Wentz is gone for a minute and Wesley does something else or takes a little break for a minute, and then you come back and here comes Trey Miguel back, and then you have that little whatever. But I just don't think they're done. And WWE doesn't like to leave stuff, or wrestling in general, never likes to leave things at 1-1. You always got to have the third match.
Right. No, I think you said it best. It didn't have to be now. I would love to take a break. Maybe Wesley maybe Wesley wins a single title, and then that's when you bring back Zachary Wentz and do the rubber match. But you have to do it. But this being the last match for a minute is good.
Ain't no title for him to win.
Oh well. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
But okay, right now for a little bit, it's going to be Obafemi versus Tony D, right? If they're setting up Tony D to beat Obafemi, I can see Wesley beating Tony D for the title. Not right now, but in the future.
I mean, Wesley is 2-time NXT World Champion. Is that not correct?
Yes. No. I think.
Yeah.
I want to say no.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Never.
When he came back, he didn't win it back.
Are you sure?
The
North American
title.
I think he only won that once.
Okay, I was going to say, for some reason I thought it was. You're right, it wasn't. It was a North American title, and it was only once. I thought it was twice. So I mean, I guess that being said, I guess the North American title is fair. I was thinking for some reason he was world champ for a minute, and then this spot's a little below him. But no, I mean, I guess this is the right spot. Is him being North American champion again? I guess the question that I only have is long term. What do you do with Wesley? I mean, he's already an NXT veteran. He's way long in the tooth on NXT, which is fine. You need some people that probably don't ever go anywhere. Which, if he's happy with that and they're happy with it, then it's fine. I wonder if there isn't anything more in the future for him. Does he have a spot on the main roster? Huh?
Tony D's kind of long in the tooth when it comes to NXT as well now.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. What do you think? I mean, you think there's a spot for Wesley on the main roster?
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Even though they're long in the tooth of NXT, if you don't have a plan for them on the main roster, I say don't move it. Don't move. As you can see, I'm glad they're finally doing something with Carmelo, but it was a downfall. It was a moment of, okay, You do have like, look at that Dragon Lee. It's like they're just now we're like, oh yeah, you have him on this roster. So I would rather them be on NXT and getting TV time than being on the main roster and maybe being jobbers for the next 6 months.
I can see that. Next, we had Ms. TV with Oba and Tony D in the ring talking about basically another match. Tony wants another match, and finally Oba agrees after they have their little face to face. There was no actual physical contact here. The Miz was not really involved. It was really Tony D and Oba talking mostly to each other. I mean, it was okay.
I actually need to give props to Tony D on this. Like, he was getting what chance, and he turned the crowd around, and they went from booing him to cheering him.
Yeah, I thought they both came off great. I mean, I liked Oba a little bit more just because I liked his intensity and the gravel and the baritone to his voice and the gravitas in which he speaks in. So it works well because he's a big dude and it's intimidating. Tony D should have a little bit more of that as the Don, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. I felt like Tony D came across a lot better than he did before. After losing to Oba. I didn't like the way he came off after he lost to Oba. So this is better. What about you, Anika?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I love that you said like Miz didn't really do anything, and that's good. Like you're just needed for your star power. Miz really don't have anything. You really don't have to say anything. So yeah, you just stay there, and if need be, take the mic from somebody. But this just being Oba and Tony D, yeah. Let's keep it there. And like you said, nice little build up. Out of everyone to bring brought up to the main roster, I think Oba is probably the first before Wesley. Even though Wesley and Tony D are long in the tooth, I think Oba is more ready. So yeah,
I agree. I think Oba's perfect for the main roster, and I think that he's the kind of guy he stands out enough. He's big enough. He's got the look. He's got personality. He stands out enough that he's not the kind of person to get lost in the mix, I don't think. I mean, Obviously we've seen it happen to other guys that I thought that about as well. But, I think he's one of those that would shine on the main roster, assuming they book him correctly. Let's see. Then we get a recap of Cora Jade returning and attacking Julia. She's talking about why she's back. She says so many people have been focused on Julia and Stephanie and they forgot about her. And then Roxy walks up and Cora Jade says,
I wish I could forget about you. Shit.
Roxy shows up. Cora Jade says they have history, but she likes who Roxy has become. And Roxy suggests they may have a common enemy in Julia. So I'm not totally sure if they're hinting towards the two of them being some sort of united front against Julia at some point. And then are we going to get Stephanie to come in and help Julia? I don't know. I'm curious to know exactly what's going on with Stephanie. I understand why we waited on Julia. I don't know anything about Stephanie or what her contract situation is. But if she's around, I don't know why we're waiting. So.
Well, Stephanie said that she would face the winner, so she will. I think Cora will get involved with that too. We'll then get a tag match between Cora and Roxanne versus Julia and Stephanie.
Yeah.
Even though I think this spot was bad for Cora, I am not opposed to them hooking up Cora with Roxanne. I do think they can be beneficial to each other as either a team or a duo. I do like that part.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it when the champion has someone around to help them, and these are two heels that work well together. So, I get it. It makes some sense. We have Jada Parker and Lola Vice versus Fatal Influence. JC Jane and it wasn't Jasmine. Fallon Henley representing Fatal Influence. it is what it is. I like Jada Parker and Lola Vice. I'm not big on Fatal Influence. They don't really do anything for me, especially when JC Jane is like the leader and she really does nothing for me. And she was the weakest link of whatchamacallit, the other toxic attraction, right? Is that what it was? Yeah. Her and Gigi Dolan and Mandy Rose, if I'm not mistaken. So, um, yeah, I mean, I thought this was okay, but this was probably the down part of the show as far as especially the in between ring work, which is unfortunate because Lola and Jada are both really good. I just think the storyline I just don't care about. What about you guys? What do you think of this match and the story?
Worst match of the night.
Like, well, more so, like you said, fatal influence. No offense, this isn't about you. This is about pushing Lola versus Jada, and with that, I say yes. This facilitated what it needed to facilitate.
Yeah. JC Jane and Fallon says their next target is Kalani Jordan. One of them wants the title. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, that's fine. That seems an okay spot for them. Although I don't care about either of them. And if either of them wrestles Kalani, I hope Kalani wins. That's my hope as far as that goes. Bianca and Jade Cargill are here. They get into the ring and they lay out Fatal Influence. The best thing Fatal Influence has done is been being beat up by Bianca and Jade. So I thought this was good. I mean, I enjoyed this, and they're here to help Kalani. So, what do you think of their little run in here at the end, or their little show up to take out Fatal Influence?
I didn't mind Kalani Jordan getting the rub from Jade and Bianca, which is basically what this was. It's weird because I think everyone thought when Jade came to WWE, if she ever come to NXT, it would have been a bigger capacity. And like not saying this was a bigger capacity, but like if she came to NXT, it would have been a singles thing, and she would have beat someone for the title. So Jade being here like this, I don't say weird, but it's like, oh, it could have been. She, but it was still good though.
What about you, Sammy? Anything?
I wouldn't call it good. I'd call it fine.
Yeah.
We then get our Randy Orton segment. Well, I guess it's a Javon Evans segment, but our Randy and Javon Evans segment. Javon is talking about how Randy Orton called him out for next week. And he says that, yep, next week in St. Louis. Sammy's, I'm not going to say home, but I guess it's his neck of the woods at minimum. He says Randy was a G at a young age. Orton says he was there because of the opportunities, and he wants to do the same for Javon. And they basically just have this kind of, whatever segment here. What did you guys think of this overall? Javon and Randy together?
I personally would call it home. I mean, it's close enough that like people where I live drive there every day for work. So close enough. It takes a little over an hour to get there, but people do it.
He says he's going to hit Javon with an RKO that knocks everyone's socks off. And Evans finishes it by saying, sometimes the legend has to go down. First of all, who do you guys think is going to win? You think there's any way Javon Evans beats Randy Orton next week in St. Louis?
No.
Sure. There's
No.
a possibility.
It's not.
I think it says no possibility.
In Missouri, A, it's Randy Orton. B, in Missouri, no.
Here's the thing. It would mean so much to Javon Evans, but it means nothing to Randy Orton.
That's why I think somehow Javon has to get the win. This is another one of those, and I'm not equating Julia to Randy or vice versa, but it's one of those situations. It's an Ospreay situation where, like, how does Randy Orton lose to Javon Evans? I don't know how you actually do that at this point in their career, but Javon has to get the win. He's the one that deserves the rupture. He's got to get the win. At minimum, he's got to have a really, really good showing with a lot of good close 3 counts, to make himself look good. So otherwise, what's the purpose of doing this? I mean,
him getting the win, like that's something that people can bring up for like the next decade. He beat Randy Orton in his hometown. Like that would be huge for him. Like it's to the level of like MJF beating CM Punk in Chicago. Well, I mean, MJF did it twice, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Miss Anika, anything else you want to say?
It would be huge. They're not going to do it though, but it would have been huge.
So set for next week is Fraxium. I guess that's Frazier and Axiom. That's what this little they're calling him, Fraxium.
You just made
Versus
me like
down,
them even less.
versus down for the tag team championships. We get Obafemi and Tony D for the North American title. We get Bianca and Jade and Kalani versus Fatal Influence, which should be fun. And then we get a video package hyping our main event of the night, which is Ethan Page versus Trick Williams for the NXT Championship. And then we get a video package hyping the arrival of the other woman that Sammy's mentioned is coming to NXT, Delta.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of her little package?
Dope.
Are you excited for it? For her arrival?
She might be a top 10 women's wrestler, honestly. Might be.
I honestly don't know anything about her. I've never seen her wrestle one match. Have you, Anika?
Me neither. So it did what it's supposed to do for someone who has never seen her. Like, okay, I'm interested. I'm here right now.
The big difference, though, is that where like Julia and Stephanie are like definitive top 5, like Delta might be top 10. Might.
Top 10 so
well,
good,
at minimum, it sounds like she's going to be another good women's wrestler on the NXT roster for a minute. So the women's division is definitely growing by leaps and bounds with a lot of solid talent. If you think of Julia and Roxanne and Stephanie, and if Delta can reach that level, and if they're going to book Cora Jade at that level, I don't think she is, but if they're going to book her, I mean, it's not a bad women's division for NXT. So
I think Delta's better than Lola Vice. I'll say that much.
Okay.
And Lola Vice is top 5 in NXT. So
sorry, had to go cough real quick. All right, that brings us to our main event of this episode, which is Trick Williams versus Ethan Page for the NXT World Championship with special guest CM Punk. Trick Williams does get the win to be two-time NXT World Champion in a solid win. I thought this was a solid win. This was, other than Punk being in the ring and he should. Ethan Page tried to steal the win with his feet on the ropes, and Punk saw it and, made a point to not. For the most part, Punk, I think, called it really down the line. I think he did a good job as a referee. For the most part, this is a very clean match, and it should be for the main event. I'm torn on how I feel about Trick as two-time NXT World Champion. I like Trick a lot. I feel like there's a lot of other people that have come through NXT that are better, that didn't have that opportunity. So there is that. That being said, I'm not, I like Trick, so it's fine. And I assume this probably means Ethan Page is headed to the main roster. That would be my guess. I don't know for sure. If he's not, that's fine. He can stay. But I'm assuming he's going to the main roster. Now there isn't really a whole lot left for him to do in NXT. I mean, but we'll have to see. Either way, Trick is a new champion, and we have a new NXT champion. What do you guys think of this and Trick getting the win?
So for me, it's great. Happy for Trick. My thought process went to like, this roster's pretty stacked, and I feel like they should try and do what they did in 2019 again, of bringing the NXT roster into Survivor Series.
Ooh.
I don't think they would do it, but like, I really think that they should. They have the roster for it now.
Hey.
Yeah.
It is a new regime. And
Should it be NXT versus Raw or SmackDown, or a combination of Raw and SmackDown? How would you do it?
2019, where was
all
it?
3.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically every Survivor Series was a triple threat, and it was 3 teams against each other. And I'm glad you. That is a very good point because 2019 they really were pushed for NXT to be a staple show, and I feel like because NXT is on CW now, that feeling is brought back. So I wouldn't mind that if they wanted to do that again, especially like even though I do love war games and they have not dropped the ball on them just yet on the main roster, I do miss the Survivor Series matches. So like just like just it's a premium live event. It's gonna be, even though yes, tight hour is great, you can't still bring back one of those Survivor Series matches. I do miss at least one of them being on the card.
More so than SummerSlam. Like, if you're going to make a pay-per-view besides WrestleMania 2 nights, do it Survivor Series, not SummerSlam.
Yeah. I say no because that's Thanksgiving weekend. I'm trying to eat and fall asleep. You want me to watch a wrestling show?
Thanksgiving is Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday.
You do realize they're preconditioning us, right? So they made WrestleMania 2 nights. They made WrestleMania 2 nights, and they did it for 3 years, 4 years now, right? 2 years, whatever it is. Now SummerSlam, lo and behold, is 2 nights, and they're going to do that for a few years, and then it's going to be Survivor Series. It's going to be 2 nights, and before you know it, all pay-per-views are going to be 2 nights, and I'm going to be irate.
I don't think that's going to happen. Raw, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania, it makes sense. Royal Rumble, it doesn't. Like, even if you say, well, they could, I'll say before you say it. Oh, well, they could make the women's match the main event. Then what are you gonna do for the next that whole night? Like for Royal Rumble, it really is. I just want to see the Royal Rumble matches, maybe 1 or 2 championships, but that's it. I don't see Royal Rumble being 2 nights. They might try it. I'm not with this. I'm not gonna put a firm flag on. They're not gonna do it. But I don't see Royal Rumble being 2 nights. Like that, I
fully agree with Anika. Like WrestleMania, I totally understand. SummerSlam, I don't understand. I would prefer it to be Survivor Series than SummerSlam. At least those 2 pay-per-views are on opposite ends of the calendar from each other.
Well, to flip it, SummerSlam, at least that's in the summer. Again, like Thanksgiving, like no, I don't care about Survivor Series like that to be 2 nights.
I care about Survivor Series.
Just book 1 night well, and then worry about booking a second night.
The problem, though, is that they only want 5 matches on the night.
Jeez Louise.
Like, if they're only going to put 5 matches on the card, like, feels like there ain't enough.
Now I have to watch 6 bad hours instead of 3 bad hours.
You're assuming it's going to be bad.
That part.
Has it been good?
I thought WrestleMania was good.
Both nights? Worthy of having 2 nights?
I thought so.
I bet, in fact, here's the homework for next week. So all 3 of us, I want us to sit with last year's both nights of WrestleMania and tell me that you couldn't cut enough stuff from each night to get it to 1 night and have it be way better than both nights or either night alone.
Without the show being 6 or 7 hours.
With any review, you can do that.
Well, then that means there's too much bullshit on it. If you can do that with any pay-per-view, then there's too much bullshit on it. That being said, Trick Williams is your new NXT World Champion. What do you guys grade this show, this episode of NXT, the debut on the CW?
B. Y'all leveling up. B.
Sammy, what you give this?
I think I might give this one a B+.
I was thinking B+. I might even go A- just because I'm irritated with Raw. But I'm going. Yeah, Cora Jade probably brings it to a B+. I think B+ is a solid spot for me. So it puts it above both of your guys' grades for NXT or for Raw, which I'm happy with, and way above my grade. Because I do think this week was way better. I thought this week at NXT was way better than this week's Raw.
It was not perfect. It definitely was not perfect.
No, it definitely was not perfect.
The first 2 matches were perfection. The last match was perfection. And Well, aside from Cord Jade. And Miz TV was very serviceable.
Yeah, the only real bad part was the Lola Vice match in the middle, which is unfortunate because I like Lola Vice and Jenna Parker. But all right, so that brings us to AEW Dynamite, and it brings us to Miss Anika.
All right. This is AEW Dynamite from last Wednesday, and it starts off with a BCC promo. And oh, yeah, we fall in love with this new team. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, and we saw sorry, boop, 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 boop. Darby versus Moxley. Moxley wins to get the title shot away from Darby at Wrestle Dream, but Danielson, basically chokes him out, and here comes the war. Basically, I say that because this feels like the promo. No, sorry, feels like this was the promo right after that show, and you can see where Claudio and the Bastard Pack they're being the best douches in the best way possible. They're like, hey, we haven't changed. Claudio's the same guy. I'm the same guy. I'm like, really? Stop. And like, Yuta, we still care about you. So we just want the best for you. So you're in a crossroads, and we know you're gonna make the right decisions. Shut up. And then here comes Marina is just getting better and better. And like I said, slow burn. Don't rush it. But TBS champion, yes, do that for her. Anyway, she comes in, she starts speaking. It can be assumed as Russian, but someone said Moldovan. In that same area, and basically, I don't speak Moldovan, but I feel like she said choose us or them because she just said these two words, something or something. I'm like, so I'm gonna assume. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to assume that's what she said. But she's speaking Moldovan. I'm like, she's already a badass. You don't have to make her more of a badass. But you did it. And I love it. And then here comes the great John Moxley saying, I wish when you were going up against Swerve, I prayed that you didn't win. I'm like, who says this? Because you're a crackhead. And he's like, because basically, this isn't about me. It's a higher power. Shane. He's like, but one way or another, I'm taking that title off of you. And at Wrestle Dream, I'm going to bury you on your home soil, sir. And I'm gonna take the responsibility off your shoulders. I'm sending Daddy home. I'm so conflicted because, as it states now, I believe they're like the last time when Danielson loses, this will be officially his retirement of being a full-time. We're not going to get Danielson this much after he loses the belt. So I'm like, Moxley can't beat Danielson because we just got him here, but he's doing so good. How can he not beat Danielson? So I'm so conflicted. But what do y'all guys think?
I thought this was perfect. I mean, this is BCC, in their bag for sure. Pac and Claudio are great, like you said. They're doing the douchey stuff with Wheeler is amazing, and obviously Marina's, she's growing by leaps and bounds every week. She's getting better, and Moxley is Moxley. So, I'm assuming that. As much as this must be something that he's okay with. This isn't necessarily the final match that I wanted for Brian. I think Moxley's winning. I just think that's what's happening. Danielson said we were going to get basically another year, and it's been basically another year
and a month.
And a month. So this is the time, and it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if Danielson is really okay with Moxley being his last match.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's other people out there that, if it's hurt, whatever, that's fine. But if it's going to be Moxley, that's great too. Him and Moxley have, a long history, a great relationship. It should be an amazing match. For Danielson, there's nothing wrong with losing to Moxley. If you're going to lose the title to somebody, you're going to get beaten. They're going to end your career. Moxley's the guy in AEW to do it at this point. I'm not sure who else other than maybe an MJF who could really, or an Ospreay who could even really get there. Maybe an Okada. But other than that,
Hangman?
maybe Hangman, but Moxley's at the top of that list, so it doesn't surprise me that they're doing this, and that's what I assume is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfortunate because I don't necessarily, especially this Daniel Bryan, who's given us just banger after banger after banger after banger right now. I mean, for the last 6 months, I mean, dude, every match has been, 4.5 to 5 stars, if not above that. So I'm going to miss that. At the same time, I think this is even more than I think he's happy to be doing this, but I think this is probably more than he thought he was going to be doing at this point. So, he's given us a lot more than I think anyone ever expected, even when he went to AEW. So.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Sammy? What do you think?
I love wrestling.
Agreed. All right. And so now we're going to start officially the 5th anniversary of AEW with Ospreay versus Ricochet. That's very oh, okay. This is what we're doing.
I've been saying it for over a month now. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. And here it is. Tony gave me what I want.
Man.
Yeah. And it exceeded expectations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Best moment, though, Ospreay doing the kip up and Ricochet just made him fall back down.
Yeah. So and I love that we got to put things out the way. I love that, all right, so let's get what they want to see now, so we can get it now. Let's do the whole Superman pose, right? They did the thing. They did the thing. All right, now let's begin this match how we want to do it.
I mean, I think if you're sitting down, and especially talking about AEW, but talking just in general across the board, but let's just speak on AEW. If you're sitting down and talking about matches of the year, Will Ospreay probably has 4 or 5 match of the year candidates already.
And this is one of them.
And this is another one of them. And this may be at the very top with Omega, because I thought this was better than MJF. I thought it was better than Kyle Fletcher. These two have such a chemistry that, I mean, the two of them are just amazing together. I mean,
they haven't locked up in a decade. And then they get back in the ring and it's like they haven't missed a beat.
Exactly. It's like best friends. It's just, you haven't talked in 10 years and then all of a sudden everything's like it was. I mean, they're perfect poetry in motion in the ring together. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Wait. Because the perfect poetry in motion haven't missed a beat. Let's take that down one notch. There were a couple of times where, but case in point, before y'all make me a hater, when Ospreay was trying to lay on the barricade and he kind of fell, and then it was a hurricane rod and missed the head. So let's not blow it all the way up to 10. Bring it down to a 9. A 9. All right,
but see, I mean, so normally I have problems with. Normally I don't like botches like that, but at the same time, when you have two guys that are doing so much, it feels almost more authentic when you do get that, because everything shouldn't happen perfectly, right? When everything happens so perfectly, it looks too choreographed. Mm-hmm. So there's a fine line. And so, yeah, I mean, you're right. It wasn't perfect, but I thought that was another spot that made it perfect, in my opinion. And the spot with the dual poison ranas, where Ricochet hit his Will no sold and then hit his. It was perfection in the ring for me. So, but I'm a huge between the ropes guy. I mean, this for me is wrestling at its best. I don't know what more you could ask for. So, as far as just in-ring work, so I mean, I thought this was great.
I fully agree, especially since this was a TV match and not a pay-per-view match.
Exactly.
But we do have to talk about the ending, where it was a double count. Okay, answer me this real quick. When both shoulders, I know the shoulders are on the mat, but does the ref have to count the 3? I feel like it's no one is pinning even though shoulders are on the mat, no one's pinning anybody. So why are we counting the 3? That's just me. But if it's an official rule, then yeah.
Here's my thing. First of all, that hidden blade for them both Ospreay was nasty looking. That was nice. Technically, Ospreay did have the pin. Even though his shoulders are down, he's on top of Ricochet. Ricochet is not in any way on top of Ospreay. He doesn't even have an arm over him or anything. The only thing that happens is Ospreay's shoulders are on the mat. So I thought it was really weird that Ricochet could even get the co-win or the draw, but it's fine. I want to see this match again.
Right.
Give it to me as many times as you guys want to do it, as long as it's not too soon. So I'm fine with the draw here. And I like the way the draw worked out here, as opposed to just a time limit draw. I thought this is another way to do a draw that's kind of original. We haven't seen it in a long time. They don't do it a lot. And I thought it worked perfect for this match.
Okay.
I really feel like
Because y'all in your feelings.
Arm on top or something.
Like
What?
I'm gonna let y'all cook.
Oh, maybe. I'd have to look at it again, but I didn't think so. But maybe so.
I'm gonna let y'all cook, but no, yes, they have been doing double count outs and interference. For some of them, I don't like screwy finishes, but now I'm cool with double count out, and we restarted the match, and then freaking Tachesta came out. I'm like, oh, now we're okay with that because we don't want the ending to be an ending, so we can have this again. But okay, I see you. It's fine. It's fine.
I wasn't even going to talk about that. Damn it! See, you had to come and blow up the spot again. I just wanted to leave the match at that.
Maybe I'm a hypocrite. Okay, maybe I'm a hypocrite, but I like this. I like it.
I will say,
but
you go.
I was just going to say, you're right. I mean, it did have interference when it ultimately happened again. When they rebooted the match, so that is a slight issue. As I've been complaining about. So I want to stay true to what I complain about, and that is something I complain about. So at the same time, I feel like it worked well. Like, okay, if it works well, it's a little bit different, but secondly, it's still done too much. So I don't want to say, but I thought it worked okay here, and I don't mind. I thought because the match basically came to an end essentially first, and then the second part was the same match, but not really, that it was okay that it had a little bit of interference at the end. But, it is what it is. Again, you're right. Another match that does have involvement, which, I mean, much rather see clean wins, But I thought for this situation, if you're going to do a draw, you're right. AEW does do draws a lot. They don't do it like this, though. Like this with the dual pin ending up in a draw, like causing the draw. Normally they do time limit draws, right? I mean, that's what we've seen so far. When was the last time we saw one done like this? So that's what I meant as far as being original, and that not original, but it hasn't been recycled too much. I'm sure it's been done before, but I can't remember the last time I've seen that particular type of draw ending.
Right.
So.
No, let's be clear. I did love this match. I would just say pick one. I really don't like. Again, like you said, this happened faster, so I'm not totally mad. This wasn't a clean finish, but I think pick either one. Either have the catcher interfere and that's it, or do the double count and that's it. Don't do both of them together. That's too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right. So again, this is the 5th anniversary.
Just to be clear, I didn't think it was too much.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, like this is the 5th anniversary, and watching old clips, it's like, oh, come back. More so, like I'm not gonna do all the clips in order, but one clip that really did stuck out was when the first time Moxley came back and put it faced Omega. I'm like, dude, come on.
A lot of those
Omega.
clips made me miss Kenny Omega. I really want Omega back. When is Omega coming back?
Well, he's got serious health issues.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong, it could be his last match ever, and he may never walk again. Which,
most definitely take your time. We did have, you did give us hope for that with that promo before the Elite bust them up. So I do have hope. Do take your time, but it really was like, appreciate what you have when you have it. I'm not going to say we didn't appreciate Omega there, but we could appreciate him a little bit more. Well, I'll say that. But after that, we have a backstage segment with Miss Mercedes Moné, and she's like, picks back her annoying heel self. She's like, I'm going to show you a video package of the best moments of Dynamite. And of course, they're all Moné segments, right? And then, oddly enough, after the video, Mr. MVP walks into the room. He was like, look, I appreciate and I enjoy big business. So if you're into it, here's my card. And Camilla look at the card and they're like, maybe not. Someone said it, and I kind of agree. They're like, right now, heel Mercedes can fit into any heel faction. I'm not sure how I feel about her being in the Her Syndicate right now, but I don't hate it. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I love MVP, and I guess I'm here to see what happens. I'm not totally sure what we're doing. I mean, we're gonna see him later again. He's got Shelton Benjamin, so okay. Are we doing Hurt? Are we doing the Hurt Business AEW style? Is that what we're going for again? I mean,
Yes.
are we just trying to run it back here in AEW? If
yeah.
so, I'd rather them do something different.
Well, I mean, I'm all
opinion.
for them bringing in Bobby Lashley too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the case too. But I'd like to see something different. Like, you don't have to do the same thing that WWE did, just in a different way. I mean,
well, I think that there's going to be 2 different members, and possibly one of them could be Mercedes Moné. But we're definitely going to be getting like a tag partner for Shelton.
Yeah.
And right now, oh, jinx.
I'd love Swerve, personally.
It feels like I kind of see what MVP's doing, but at the same time, it feels a little undefined still, which is fine, I guess. But I guess I want more gravitas to where it's going, what his ultimate goal is in AEW. If it's just a recruiting stable, that's fine, which it appears to be. That's fine. I mean, I don't know. Why are you here exactly? What are you doing here, sir?
Would you prefer Shelton being a singles wrestler instead of tagging with somebody and you bring in a tag team like Private Party?
I mean, I do think that you could definitely, a Private Party, a Top Flight, one of those kind of teams that hasn't necessarily had.
Oh, I think Private Party would work so much better than Top Flight would.
Well, they might. I'm just speaking on teams in general that haven't necessarily.
Just crawling to the. I'm like, what the hell are you?
Hasn't had that big push yet, and I think would get the rub. Either of those teams, I think, would get the rub. But yeah, no, I mean, Private Party's a little more heelish and probably a little bit more on the MVP type. But I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Top Flight with them also. I mean, I could see them as heels as well. But yeah, I mean, either of those tag teams would get a rub from being with MVP. I think, especially since MVP is getting time on Dynamite, which would give them time on Dynamite. So
personally, I'm excited to see what they do, and like they have so many options ahead of them. They could screw it up, but they haven't yet.
Here's what I can tell you, though: we don't know what's going to happen, but we do know that MVP will be paired with nothing but black guys. I promise you that, or black women. That's what wrestling does. That will be it. Unfortunately, that's also the way wrestling
what
works.
MVP wants. It's not just.
Well, that might very well be true.
Yeah. No.
He wants to lift up young black talent,
and more so to prove Triple H wrong, because he fully believes that Triple H doesn't know how to promote black men. And to that, I'm like, I just say because we all saw, like, they were trying to give Bobby a push, but unfortunately during the tournament he got hurt. So it's like I can't necessarily say that.
Whether they let him go.
After they did let him go, but like I said, before that they were giving somewhat of a push to Bobby, but some things did prevent Bobby from going to the next level.
Shout out the
That's
first
just my thing.
Enter the Square Circle world champion. All right. Bobby freaking Lashley. That man is a machine. Like, I was a fan of him when he first debuted and everybody was hating on him in ECW. I was like, no, man, he's good.
Correct me if I'm wrong. In the last 10 years in WWE, the only 2 black champions have been Kofi and Bobby. Is that not correct?
Big E.
And Big E.
Oh, and Big E. So we've had 3 in the last 2 years.
And then let's be very clear, WWE and Triple H are 2 different regimes. So if we're going to talk about Triple H, that's 3 years.
They're not, though. Let's be clear. Triple H learned under the learning tree of Vince McMahon. Let's be clear. Everything Triple H learned was at the foot of Vince McMahon. Now, he's not.
How many black world champions have we had since Triple H took over?
No, exactly. Okay. So let's call spade a spade. He was trying to push Odyssey Jones, But Odyssey Jones wanted to do something stupid. He wanted to push Velveteen Dream, but Velveteen Dream did something stupid. So let's not break that notion of he doesn't push people when he does. But black men, no offense, these two in particular, were doing something stupid.
The fact that you only have 2, though, when you're talking about a roster of 60 people that you're even considering to push, that means 58 of your people are white and 2 are black, or 40 are white and 15 are Mexican and 10 are black. I mean, let's be honest about what we're talking about.
AEW, and you only have 1 out of the 5 years, and Grant, it's only been 5 years. But if Swerve did not go on radio and say, "Hey, I want to be champion," would he be in this situation? We don't know.
You're right. I mean, AEW, it's endemic of wrestling in general. I mean, I would say that AEW's had a little bit more variety in the 5 years. They had Samoa Joe, who's at least a minority representative. They did have Swerve. You know, they've had other people at the top of the list there that have been, a little bit whatever. But you're right. I mean, it's endemic of wrestling in general. And I would say that, Triple H is not Vince McMahon. I'm not trying to say that, but I believe he definitely learned at the feet of Vince McMahon. And I do think that he has tendencies and things that he learned from Vince's ways to do things and ways not to do things. Now he has his own opinions and stuff, and he's going to do things differently to a certain extent, but he's from the McMahon school of wrestling. I mean, I don't know how you can deny that. I mean,
it's also a situation of the roster too, because like before Swerve showed up, the best they had was Scorpio Sky. Honestly, Scorpio Sky is best.
Let's not bring up Scorpio. That NXT with Sammy still boils my blood to no end. Let's not bring that up. I'm like,
and he was the best that they had.
Yeah.
And it boils your blood.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I would like to say that, it's an indictment of not enough black wrestlers, but we know that's not true because there's plenty of black athletes out there that are wrestlers, plenty of black wrestlers out there. So it's just a matter of them getting more time and more push. All minorities in general. I mean, both companies are dominated by Caucasians. I mean, when it comes to AEW and WWE. So
I'll say this and we'll just leave it alone. And I get there were other factors, but Keith Lee in NXT under Triple H was better than with Keith Lee in AEW. My opinion.
I would agree with that. No, I would tend to agree with that. And I have no idea what the different situations are, but you're right. I mean,
he got hurt,
I would tend to
and that's unfortunate in AEW. He got hurt, which is unfortunate.
Him and Swerve came in about the same time, though.
Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so next up we have what's number 3? The learning tree. And so here comes we start off great with Big Bill. And that's always a great everyone learn tree always start off with Big Bill. Saying
I'll be right back.
Over 5 years, we get better. And I love Big Bill. And so as we grow, here is our leader, Jericho. And then so Jericho comes out, there's a spiel, blah, blah, blah. Probably how you've been here all 5 years. That's not really a stunt, sir, because people are asking you to go away. Anyway, but here comes the conglomeration, more so Mark Briscoe. And he was like, you know what? My daddy told me never to take excuses. You did pin me. And yeah, there were some things going on, but it was a tornado match. You had every right. But you know what? I think I can beat you. And so this crescendos into Chris Jericho challenging Mark Briscoe for the ROH Heavyweight Championship. I'm like, I would have loved this when Jericho was the ROH champion. Was it 2 years ago? Times or 1 year ago? When the Ocho. I would have loved if Mark Briscoe was the one to beat Jericho, but time has passed. So as hot as this would have been a year or two ago, this isn't hot now. And I say that because I guess you want to make it hot, Jericho, and dropped the line of, "Hey, Jay was way better than you, Mark." Mark says, "Keep my brother's name out your mouth." And then he hits him and like, "Hey, that's a receipt of this is what you get when you do dumb stuff." Listen, it's not that Jericho brought Jay's name up. It's that this is not hot enough for you to bring Jay's name up. When you go to, well, MJF does it or Christian Cage does it. They do it in hot feuds, in hot rivalries. I don't really think no one, and I think someone has to really tell Jericho this. Don't nobody care about your behind. Even if so bringing Jay's name up in this segment, for me, just wasn't needed. What do you guys think?
I think the learning tree is growing on me.
The what?
The learning tree is growing on me.
With Jericho included, or just Big Bill and Brian Keith?
Mostly Big Bill.
Yeah, there we go. You have to be very, very specific. And I do agree with that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Big Bill is doing good work right now, and I thought that he was really strong on the mic, and maybe, he's definitely getting better, and I think probably being with Jericho is helping. I would love this so much more if either Big Bill or Brian Keith was getting the match.
Yes.
I don't know why it has to be Jericho versus Mark Briscoe. I get it because Jericho's the leader of the learning tree, but it would just be, I mean, if your real goal is to try to put over younger talent or guys that are, whatever, still have a future that you think or whatever, then Brian Keith and or Big Bill should have this match against Mark Briscoe instead of you. So I was disappointed that it's Jericho versus Mark Briscoe at the same time. I mean, I enjoy Mark Briscoe, so I'm here for it. And like you said, it's not a hot enough feud to necessarily invoke excuse me, Jay's name, but I do think if you want to try to heat it up, that's one way to do it. And I think that's obviously what Jericho's trying to do. He mentioned he's going to be the what is it, Nueve? Is that 9? I guess after Ocho. And I thought that was really dumb, and I don't want to see another reiteration of Chris Jericho again. So I just wish he would go away, personally. But it is what it is. I hope if Mark Briscoe doesn't get the win and retain the championship, then I don't know what we're doing.
Like there is nowhere in my mind Jericho beats Mark Briscoe. Now, I'm the same person. And my same behind said that Jericho should not be on the roster right now. He should have took a break 6 months ago. So I'm not going to put 100% on Mark Brady, Jericho, but that's what should happen.
I agree.
Right? Next up, let me say, we have a Darby Allin promo, and this basically explains why Darby does the thing he does. So he starts off with this story about him being on a bus in Seattle, and he's just chilling in the back, but then he feels people messing with him, and then more so they're spitting at him. He jumps up and about to fight, right? The dude that he wants to fight pulls out a knife, and instead of saying, "My bad, I'm gonna sit down," Darby says, "Well, I guess I'm just getting stabbed today." It's like, no, boo-boo, no. There are other options to you just getting stabbed on the bus. It really is. And he's like, "Well, this is just me. This is just how I do things." And he's like, even though Wrestle Dream was my goal to wrestle Danielson, it wasn't written in the cards. Right now, I'm feeling low. I felt like the hope that people had of me being the future of AEW is people don't believe it anymore. I don't believe it anymore. But you know what? I'm going to try to bring it back. How am I going to bring it back? Wrestle Dream, I'm doing an open challenge. Whoever wants to fight me, fight me. I love this man. He is one of my favorites. I love this promo. Like I said, because like sometimes we do be like, Darby, why are you doing this, Darby? And I'm like, we understand it a little bit better. We're still going to ask why, but it's going to be one ask. And then it's like, all right, fine. What are your thoughts? And who do you think is going to accept this challenge?
Man, I mean, I'm here for the open challenge. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the open challenge. I think it's a weird spot when they're going to actually do the open challenge, but I'm here for it. I have no idea who's going to answer it. I hope it's somebody cool that maybe we haven't seen in a while. I don't know who that might be. The first name that flashes in my head is Miro, but I don't know even what his status is or what's going on. I don't know if he's ever coming back or what the deal is. But there's other people too out there. I mean, i.e. Ricky Starks or some other guys. I don't know exactly what his status is either, but there's other guys out there that I would love to see come back. So, or even a new person that maybe we weren't thinking about. Maybe, even though it would be kind of an odd match, maybe this is a spot where a Bobby Lashley comes out if he can and accepts an open challenge, and we get Bobby Lashley in AEW. I mean, him versus Darby Allin wouldn't necessarily be a terrible first match. You could definitely throw Darby around, and Darby would sell great for the huge Bobby Lashley. So that would be fun. I don't know how the outcome would come, because I don't know that you want Darby to lose necessarily in his first open challenge, and you definitely don't want Bobby to lose if he's coming in for his first match. So that's a little bit of a rub. But
that's the issue I see with this, is that like, if this is happening at Wrestle Dream?
Yeah.
Like, I think you want Darby to win there, and I don't think you have him win over Bobby in Bobby's debut match in AEW.
No, I agree too. So I mean, I'm just thinking of names out loud. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing, with Darby's style in the ring and the persona that he's cultivated as a character in AEW, this stuff works. At the same time, it feels like every story tries to outdo the first story, the last story, to be more. And it's like, not all this stuff can all happen to one person at one time. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I understand, like, you sure can, but let's be honest. Like, and I appreciate your heart, Darby. I don't personally believe, I'm sorry, that when dude pulls out a knife, you're just like, fuck it, I'm willing to die and just run into the fray. I'm sorry. Maybe you are. Maybe I'm totally mistaken. But you're that 1 out of 10 people probably that would actually do that. I mean, there's a lot of people that I think would say I would do that, but when the chips are actually down, let's see who actually runs towards that knife. So those kinds of things, I mean, again, the personality he's cultivated, it leads to that being somewhat believable, because that's, whatever, but I'm not sure I buy it personally on a personal level. Beyond that, and then the whole accident with his uncle, it's like, come on, dude, you've been through like the worst things, and there are some people that all the worst stuff happens to, but it's like, how much more bad stuff can happen to this guy? Like, come on, like, so there's a little bit of that, but it's still a good promo, and Darby's a great talker, so.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Sammy?
I thought this was serviceable, and I felt like it fit to his personality. I didn't have the mindset of, I don't buy that, like ALW did.
It's not 100% not believable. We'll say that. All right. Next match, we have Heyman versus Juice Robinson. This was fun. I love the Juice. And the Juice is he's just great all around. Of course, this is going to be a hoss fight. This isn't really a technical wrestling prowess. We're just beating the crap out of each other. Now, let's run this back, because where was the Bang Bang Gang? They were showing clips of 8 tag teams from the past 5 years. Oddly enough, they showed the Guns beating the Acclaim. I'm not sure if I want to show. Yes, they're doing the promo, but I think there was a better Guns clip you could have shown. The Guns winning championships, it's still not good in people's eyes. But I digress. They're good now. So they're doing this. They're doing this promo. They're about to promote the match, and then unhinged Hangman, who you see him, but you don't know what he's gonna do until he does it. As Colt and what's his brother's name? I don't want to be disrespectful.
Austin.
Colt Austin are talking. You just see Hangman just beeline the freaking chair to the back of Austin's head, and then y'all. Austin's head, and Colton tries to fight, but he just throws Colton in the middle and Colton through a door. So great little backstage segment for Hangman. So that tells you the question of why Juice out there by himself. But all in all, great match. Yeah, it is still Hangman. So Hangman wins. He's going, and again, this is unhinged Hangman. So
with a low blow.
With a low
yeah,
blow.
yeah.
This is heel Hangman. I'm telling you, everyone's like, he's just unhinged. He's just an unhinged face. No, dude is a heel. Like at this moment, he is a heel, and I'm here for it. Like I like it. I thought this was fine. I enjoyed this a lot. Juice is always fun. This was one of those matches, like you said, it's not technical, it's just fun. I love the whipping with the belt and all that stuff. These two have built up a little animosity and have a little bit of a minor feud going here. So I like it, and I like this angry Hangman Page. I thought the low blow fits what he's doing now. I didn't necessarily like it for the match. Again, another match with kind of some hinky stuff that takes place, and it is what it is. But he ultimately does get the buckshot lariat and the clean pin, I guess, after the low blow. So it's something. And then what happens, Anika? Tell us all what happens.
So unhinged heel Hangman, he's both, wants to be a crackhead emotionally and wants to freaking hang Juice with a belt by the side of the ring. And here comes Jay freaking White. He is back. But Jay White he's not the average bear. He doesn't come through the entrance. He goes to the back. And let's not forget, it was Hangman is the reason why Jay White was out. So Juice, yes, Jay White wants to avenge Juice, but he also wants to avenge himself. So he's just going at it with Hangman. He's just whooping his behind. And all in all, it ends with him doing a Death Valley driver through the table. I miss you, boo boo. I miss you so much. And he helps Juice up in Juice fashion. He's back. He's back.
So as ALW pointed out earlier, this was not technical. This was fun. And the show needed that because all the other matches on this card were technical matches.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes AEW so awesome is it being a buffet of where you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and this made us have that, not just this.
Yeah. And we were talking about this last night. Sammy, about how some people fight each other clicks and how them going against each other makes sense. This is seamless. Jay White versus Hangman. Like, yeah, I get this. This should be a thing. And this should elevate Jay White and not de-escalate? Yeah. De-escalate Hangman. Like they're both on par, and this should be a good rivalry. However matches you give us.
Yeah, I wanted to know what they were going to do with Hangman post Swerve, and I like the decision that they've made here. Him versus Jay White, I'm here for that. I'm glad Jay White is back. Him versus the Bang Bang Gang in general just is fun. And so I think there's a lot of meat on the bone there. It's great to see Jay White back, and I enjoyed all of this. I thought this was all really good stuff. So
it was. All right, we have another backstage segment. We have Jack Perry coming in the scapegoat truck. Before you can get a couple of words in, Shibata comes out and challenges Jack Perry for Let's not forget, Jack Perry is the TNT champion.
Shibata.
Wrestler's wrestler.
Yes. So Jack doesn't say anything. He attacks Shibata. This wasn't really a good attack. I'm not sure what I wanted, but this was so mid of an attack in the parking lot. But all in all, Jack gets the upper hand and says, sure. And it's like, again, I'm not sure. This needed something. I'm not sure what it needed, but this did not stick a landing for me. Wasn't bad, but it was like, yeah, okay.
I'll tell you what it needed. It needed somebody else besides Jack Perry.
This might be true.
I'm a huge Shibata fan. I really like Shibata. I mean, he doesn't have like the most outgoing personality. He's not like the, but I really enjoy him. He is the wrestler's wrestler. He's fun to watch. I think him and Jack should be a good match. I just don't. Jack Perry just leaves me a little flat. Even as a scapegoat, he's better than Hollywood Jack Perry, but he just leaves me flat. And I mean, even his best work was when he was with Jurassic Express as just Jungle Boy, and even then, he still left me a little flat. I thought he was the most exciting that he's ever been, but even then, he left me a little flat. When they were talking originally about him being a pillar, I always kind of wavered on that. I understand, but I'm not sure that I agree that he was on that level ever, and so I don't know. I thought it was kind of one of these things don't quite look like the other, but it is what it is. So. And now they're pushing him a lot. I do think I often forget he's TNT champion.
The thing is that he was the shortest pillar, but I think the shortest pillar is currently Sammy Guevara.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say Jack Perry's better than MJF. And
I wouldn't say, in my opinion, I don't think Jack Perry's better than Sammy. I just think he's getting a bigger push. I mean, I think Sammy's better than Jack Perry. I think he's a better wrestler and a better promo. I just, for whatever reason, Sammy has been on the back burner and Jack Perry's, on the front burner.
Jack Perry's a solid wrestler.
Sammy's problematic, and he just sometimes just shut the freak up. That's what Sammy's problem is.
So here's the thing. I agree. I think Jack Perry's a solid wrestler. I personally think Sammy Guevara is a special wrestler. I think between the ropes, Sammy's very unique and one of a kind. I mean, if he can stay out of his own way, he should be at the top of the promotion. Dude's a great talker, got tons of personality, oozing charisma. Now he's a slimy douchebag, but and he's great in the ring as far as the moves go. I mean, he can hold his own with anybody. So I mean, he can't get out of his own way. I mean, I don't think the same about Jack Perry.
He was in the first singles match in AEW history, like that first Double or Nothing. Like it was him versus Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
Sammy opened up the curtain to AEW.
So yeah, I mean, again, this segment's fine. I just am not a big Jack Perry guy, so it is what it is. It was a little bit of a weird attack as well. I hope that Shibata beats him. That's not going to happen, but I hope Shibata beats him.
What'd you say, Sammy?
Back when he used to wear a panda head.
Next, we have another match. This is our women's segment. We are in Pittsburgh for this 5-year anniversary, so the doctor will see you now. Britt Baker, DMD, faces Serena Deeb.
I'm a huge fan of Serena Deeb, and I know that ALW does appreciate Britt Baker.
Yeah, I do.
This was a fine match. I guess they got to a rocky start. Like it wasn't perfect chemistry, but it was enough chemistry to make this a very good match. Of course, we're in Pittsburgh for Britt Baker wins.
These two haven't faced each other before, right?
So I don't remember them wrestling before.
So like I think that's just like growing pains of like you're in the ring with somebody for the first time. You have to catch their momentum, catch their flow.
Yeah,
and
but if you're comparing, Roxanne and Julia didn't face each other, and that was probably a better match.
Oh yeah, well yeah, no, well to be fair, you're talking. I mean, it is kind of apples to oranges. I mean, I think there's somewhat of a comparison between Roxanne and Britt, but Julia's head and shoulders above all three of those women, in my opinion, or the other three women. So it's not really a fair comparison. At the same time, like, Britt Baker was never. She was fine in between the ropes. I don't think that was ever her greatest asset.
Oh, no.
And now she's been out for a while, and she's older and all that stuff. And I think you can see a little ring rust. What used to not be great is even more exaggerated. Was more exaggerated against Serena Deeb. So there were definitely some hiccups. At the same time, I do like Britt. I know a lot of people don't. I like her. I think she's got personality. She's fun. And I think she's fine for what she does. Now, I don't think she should necessarily be the main event like she has been in the past. I think she was I think she was pushed a little more than she should have been. But it is what it is. I am glad she's back, and I thought this was okay.
No titles are involved. This isn't the main event. This isn't the opener. This is the middle of the card. As a mid-card match, honestly, I have no complaints. If this was Rampage, this would have been the main event of Rampage.
This might be true.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
But at the end of the match, Dee's pissed. She beats up on Britt Baker, and Queen Aminata comes in for the save. While all this is going on, we have our champion, Mariah May, in the audience watching all this unfold. Not sure how I feel about Queen Aminata in this Dee story. Not saying it's a bad story. It's not clicking for me. Again, like the whole thing about synergy and like I get it, I'm with it. It's like, not sure how much I care about Serena Dee getting slighted by Aminata and her being mad about that. Like, hey, because I'm not on my TV, yes, please. This way, just nah. But how's it people on TV?
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel the same way. Like I think both Deeb and Aminata belong on my TV, and I think they both are quality enough to be main event talent. I just am not. This feels mid card, even though even though they should be main event. Like it just feels like they're trying to put two people that they've booked very mid card right into kind of a main event picture, and it doesn't quite feel like it's working the way it should. But that being said, again, anytime I can see more Serena Deeb or Queen Aminata, I'm happy for it. I mean, they should be booked as main event people. So
yes. So after this, or not, because I'm not sorry. I'm not going to say that might be a little out of order, but it feels good to say it right now. Keep saying Mercedes. Mariah May is backstage, and she's confronted by Willow, and they have a little fight. Mariah had to point out that she beat Willow in the Owen Hart tournament, and Willow got beat by Statlander. So why would you be up in my face trying to get a match? And Willow knocked her out. Well, not knocked her out, but they started fighting. I was like, ma'am, we know all this is true, but you don't have an opponent that's worthy of you being in the main event. Willow is that person. So I'm gonna need you to shut your mouth on facts that we know damage this thing, because Willow is the perfect challenger for you right now. So all this truth, keep it to yourself until Willow's another match, please. What are your thoughts about this segment?
Sammy, do you want to go first? Or?
Solid. Like, I've got no complaints.
I'm definitely here for Willow versus Mariah. Like that's going to work. That's going to work.
And I'm very happy to see Willow getting booked in that main event world title picture. So I think her versus Mariah May should be very good, and I hope Willow gets the win. I mean, it would be a little bit of a hot potato action because Mariah hasn't had the belt that long. But I love Willow, and nothing wrong with Mariah May, but I'm a huge Willow fan. So anytime Willow's in the ring, I want her to win, and I want her to be champion of everything. So, I obviously want her to win. At the same time, I could see why she might not get the win. But I'm here for the match. Hopefully we get more than one. Hopefully this is just a precursor of Willow being in the orbit of the world title for a while, and having multiple opportunities with at least one chance to hold it, so if not more.
No, I definitely see Willow being a champ. It's really a matter of who she's winning it off of and how long you're going to let her reign last. But she definitely is going to be women's world heavyweight champion.
I will say, even though I think Willow belongs in the main event, I know Tony wants all these titles to feel equal. Unfortunately, with Mercedes holding the TBS title and what's revolving around Mercedes, it does feel a little bit more important than Mariah May's world title. So it just does, unfortunately. And that's no indictment of Willow or Mariah May. I think it's a comment on how good Mercedes is and just the way the booking has been pushed towards the TBS title at the moment.
Yeah, understood. All right, so next up we got backstage promos. So Nigel McGuinness took the place of Taz on commentary. They said we'll tell about it more later. This is later. Evidently, Taz got beat up in the parking lot and had to go to the hospital. They asked Took about it, and he does this best. Ooh, man, I'm going. This is very changing the hook. Whoever did this, I'm coming for you, and you gonna pay. And then we have, not ironically in my mind, a Christian Cage promo, where basically he's like, I have all the cards in my hand, and I'm going to get everything I want. Hook, line, and sinker. Now, I'm okay with this. I thought when we got rid of the FTW Championship, we're going to move away from Hook because of his dad for a little bit, right? So I'm like, oh, really? A story about his dad getting beat up, he had to avenge him? It's fine. Like I said, it's fine. Like I said, I thought after the FTW title got retired, we were going to let Hook be his own man. But y'all know how to do that, so whatever. People are thinking that Christian Cage did it. On par with the dead dad thing, even though he's not dead, we'll beat him up. So, okay, cool. Nick Wayne versus
to what
Hook.
end? I mean, to what end? Why? I mean, it doesn't. So that's the thing that I have a question. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I get like hook, line, and sinker. You're baiting the people. It's foreshadow. I get it, but now if you're going to try to recruit Hook to the patriarchy and Hook's going to come over, maybe we'll see how that works. And if Hook joins them, maybe that's a different situation. I don't know. I mean, he could definitely learn at the foot of Christian Cage. I mean, there's a lot worse people he could be paired with. But if that's not the situation, it makes no sense. Christian is focused on the world title. What does he care about Hook, who has nothing? Hook just lost the FTW title or just won it and retired it, gave it up. He's doing nothing. I mean, what do you care? Why does the patriarchy even care about Hook in any way, shape, or form, or Taz in any way, shape, or form? Secondly, I think it would be a little bit disappointing if it's Christian and the patriarchy that attacked Taz. Now, if it's Hook that took out Taz as a turn and then joins the patriarchy and badmouths his dad, I can see that. I'm not sure to what end, just to spice up the patriarchy, give Hook something to do. It's not like we're going to get Hook versus Taz. So, I mean, we're not going to do that. So I don't know to what end that would be, other than a segue to get him into the patriarchy. That would be okay. If it's not that, they better make it very interesting who's ever attacking Taz. Otherwise, I don't care. Because at this point, the only thing that I care about is who it is. And if it's bad, I'm going to be very upset. If it's good, then okay, I care. If it's bad, then I don't care, and I'm going to be very upset. So
I understand all. Yeah, I get all that. Like, I get in my mind, I went towards, okay, who was Nick Wayne? Sure. I wouldn't mind Hook being patriarchy. Like, we always say he just needs a mentor. He just needs to get elevated through other people. That would be a good group to get elevated by. Something just popped out in my mind. I'm okay with as well. If Christian's a red herring, and I wouldn't mind that Christian's a red herring, if Samoa Joe's the one who beat up Taz and takes the mantle of mentoring Hook officially, I wouldn't mind. I think that would be great. That's kind of lessening Joe a little bit, but I think Joe would take that because he does believe Hook is a good wrestler. I think Hook's a good wrestler too. He just needs to be mentored better. So I will be okay with if that's the story.
I like Hook with Joe too. I mean, that's what they were doing before Joe went away, and I was here for that. I just don't understand why Joe would be attacking Taz. They already had a relationship where they worked together. It doesn't make any sense for Joe to attack Taz to do something unless he's trying to make Hook mad. That seems, it seems odd. But I don't know. They better have something good for this attack on Taz. Otherwise, it's dumb. I mean,
any thoughts, Sammy? You can say no. You can say no.
I mean, we all like Taz.
Yes, we do.
the thing is I don't know how I feel. So I guess I don't have anything to say.
Are you willing? Okay, I like this. Are you willing to let it play out? Are you interested in
Oh,
seeing just
absolutely.
how? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Just like, I gotta hurt Taz.
Well, the I think the highlight is Nigel's on commentary. So it's like, hey, whatever gets Nigel on commentary for Dynamite, I think we're all in agreement should happen. Like, for me, you could have took out Excalibur, but you took out Taz. Either way, Nigel's on commentary. So there you have it.
That's tough. Like I mean, you would think like Nigel, Excalibur, and whatchamacallit would be great. Taz would be great together, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't dislike Tony, but I mean, if I'm taking out either Tony or Excalibur, I prefer Excalibur. But I know a lot of people think Excalibur is kind of the weakest member of the announce team, also. So it is what it is. I don't think that, but a lot of people have said that in the past. So you can have a 4-person announce team. I'd be fine with that as well.
Yeah. I have to see how it goes because sometimes too many voices, like, shut up, too much data. All right,
That's
next.
true.
Next, we have a match with Private Party with new theme music versus the Orange Savages. And this wasn't a squash match, but all in all, I think we all know Private Party was going to win, and they did, which was a very good, which was a very good, serviceable match. They get on the mic and they're like, "Yeah, it's been 5 years. Earlier this year, we're like, we told y'all, Pirate Party, this is Isaiah talking, is going to go for the tag team titles and win. We need that crap. So we're calling out Young Bucks. We want a title shot for you. You know what? For the anniversary, let's do it now." And Nicholas and Matt Jackson oblige, sitting on the ramp and pontificate about how, yeah, you can't have the 5th anniversary of AEW and not have the people who built it on the show. And so they're getting all hyped up. They're like, you know what? You want this match now? We do have extra time this show. Let's go. And it's like, of course. You know what? We got dates. We can't waste it on Pittsburgh. So of course they take it back. And then here comes Jack Perry to help them beat up Private Party. I'm like, boo. All they wanted was a match. You didn't have to beat them up like that, but you're heels, I guess so. And here comes Shibata to help out Private Party. So, all in all, they already had Jack Perry and Shibata going for the TNT championships. They haven't announced it, but it does seem like they're going to do Private Party versus the Young Bucks for the title match, tag team title championship. How do y'all
Next
feel about
Tuesday
this?
on Title Tuesday.
Aiming Skulls. Okay.
Remember, because Dynamite will be on Tuesday next week instead of Wednesday.
MLW playoffs.
It is Title Tuesday.
But how y'all feel about all of this?
Go ahead, Timmy.
I'm down for Title Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was fine in a vacuum. I mean, it was a squash. I don't care what Anika says.
Yeah, it was a squash.
It was a squash, which is fine. I mean, you haven't really booked Private Party to be getting squashes, so okay, it is what it is. But if they're challenging the Young Bucks, then I guess you got to have them look very strong at the moment. I'm here for them wrestling the Young Bucks. That should be fun. And I think we're gonna get probably gonna get a trios match. I would think first, right, with Shibata and Private Party versus Jack Perry and the Bucks. I would guess. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm here for all this. I mean, it furthers Jack Perry and Shibata, and gives Private Party the rub by being on the big stage against the tag team champions. Like, they're not going to beat the Bucks, but at least it gives them a rub to be on TV with them. Oh, did we lose Anika? I guess so. Until she gets back. What else can we say about? I mean, I don't have any issue with Private Party. Maybe they're, for some reason in my head they feel equivalent Top Flight and Private Party feel very equivalent in my head, and I like Top Flight better. If you're talking about, one of the two teams getting a push, I'd rather it be Top Flight. Now, to be fair, both of them had problems staying healthy. So, but Mark Quinn was out for a long time, not healthy either. So
I don't know if I'd agree with you. Like, I'm not really feeling Top Flight's gimmick.
yeah, you're not a Top Flight fan, huh?
They're good wrestlers.
You don't like the Top Flight gimmick and their routine. See, I liked them. I thought them with Action Andretti. I thought they were a solid trio.
I think that they're fine on the roster. Private Party, I see as championship material.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Like, I'm not trying to hate on Top Flight. I like Top Flight.
Sure.
They have good matches.
Right.
I don't see them as champions.
And maybe that's. I mean, to be fair, at this point, I don't really see Private Party as champs either. I feel like they'd have to do a lot to build them up to that. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of either of their gimmick. I feel like the Private Party VIP popping bottles, that feels more like a character gimmick than Top Flight does. Top Flight feels a little more authentic and just like two brothers that wrestle and fly around.
They dress up as pilots with a stewardess.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the gimmick.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I don't know, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think I prefer Top Flight a little bit myself more, but there's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, honestly, when it boils down to it. So,
but it's a situation of to each their own. We can prefer which one we want, and neither one of us is wrong.
No doubt. In lieu of Anika coming back, here we go. All right, we are ready to move on.
Thank you for pontificating. All right, so here comes the main event. We have. Make sure it's main event. It's this. Nope, no, it isn't. We have one more segment. So MVP is backstage with Nick Paquette, and this actually is an official segment by himself. But here comes Prince Nana. He don't like the way he was talking to him last week, and justifiably so. He's like, you know what? You was talking a whole lot of smack, and people don't know this. But I was a wrestler, so I will relax up my boots, and we can go. We can do this in the ring. And in clear MVP fashion, like, whoa, I am not here for that. I am like it feels like what's his name, Paul Heyman X thing. I'm just an advocate. I'm just trying to run a business. But if you want to still lace up your boots, I got someone you can go against. And here's the gold standard, Shelton Benjamin in the Hurt Syndicate. Biggest pop ever because, baby boy, let's do some things. And Prince Nana, he's like, hey, it's 2-1. I ain't stupid. He just sashayed out the segment. And then Shelton Benjamin sips the coffee, that Prince Nana had. Like, oh, it's pretty good. Oh, all right, bet. And so we have a definite addition to MVP's group. It is MVP and Shelton Benjamin definitely in, and you don't want to get your hopes up, but like everyone was saying, Shelton Benjamin is one of the people you wish had better shots in WWE. You wish he had a better run. So I don't expectations aren't high. He's not going to win the World Heavyweight Championship, but
why not?
Was
I was just say why not.
He is a little old. He is a little long in the tooth. Personality-wise, he does have MVP, but okay, I'll say this. The stacks, he's not on the top 10 list of who should win the belt as of right now. But like I said, international title, why not? TNT title, why not? ROH title, why not? Let this be a good run for Chelsea because we owe it to him. But how y'all feel?
You said earlier that we need more Black World Champions. Like, who better?
There is a notion that even though he is, I will have to say, okay, so I'll say this. I have to say how he is in the ring. It has been Yeah, I want to say a minute. Even when he was in WWE with the Hurt Business, Dad, going was that 4 years ago? 3?
WWE had him, but they never used him.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, pandemic. Like I'm saying, the Hurt Business, that was a pandemic group,
Yep.
and that was
Yes.
3 years ago. And yeah, he did have the 24/7 title. He was wrestling in tag teams, but I vaguely remember him doing any big spots. So I do have to see him in the ring to see if he, I think he's still good. It's a matter of what level are you on? Like, are you on?
He was always good.
But
if you
right
got
now,
the time, go and check out some of his matches that he wrestled in New Japan.
This year, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is recently.
This year. This was like 2015.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. Recently, it's been a minute since we've seen him wrestle. So
we'll have to find out.
Exactly. So let's see a match and let's see like, oh, okay, like he still got it. He's still decent to good, maybe great. I would love so definitely had to see the first match to see what we're working with.
He was always an underrated guy though on the roster. Like his tag team with Charlie Haas. Like if you want to go back in the day, like he's always been underrated.
Someone said it, and it's like, why did you say it? If he was on SmackDown instead of Raw back in 2005, 2006, we might be like, oh, I can definitely see him doing so much better on SmackDown than Raw. I can definitely see that.
So let me make it 100% clear. The last two things I need to see are Prince Nana versus MVP or Prince Nana versus Shelton Benjamin. I have no doubt that Prince Nana, and I mean, can probably still handle himself in the ring. I just don't need to see it at this point. That's for sure.
What if we made it a triple threat? MVP versus Prince Nana versus Stokely Hathaway.
No.
I'm torn because MVP, I think, carries a little more cachet. He's been on the big stage more than Nana, and I love MVP. I'm a huge MVP fan. I like Nana a lot, though, too, and I don't necessarily want to see Nana go away. I don't want to see, like, MVP usurp Nana's spot because I really like Nana, but I feel like that's what's happening, which is a little unfortunate for Nana. At the same time,
I feel like they're very different. Like, I feel like MVP is more similar to Stokely than he is to Nana.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just saying I feel like there's only so much room in AEW and on TV for these guys, and it feels like MVP's pushing Nana out for that little bit of TV time that one of these guys is going to get. And so, it's unfortunate for Prince Nana. At the same time, I like MVP, so I'm not, I don't mind seeing him on my TV. And I'm here, do I think it's a little bit of lack of originality to just recycle the Hurt Business in AEW? Yeah. That being said, I'm not necessarily. I like MVP with Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin was always an underrated wrestler. I always really enjoyed watching Shelton Benjamin wrestle. I don't know, like Anika says, what he has left in the tank at this point. It would be interesting to see, and I'm here to see it. I don't necessarily think. I said why not with Sammy, and only time will tell. The only reason I say why not to him being a world champion is just because I feel like he's never gotten the due that he deserves. At the same time, it's highly possible that at this point in his career, he probably shouldn't be world champion. We'll have to see what he looks like once he steps into the ring again and actually starts really wrestling, assuming that's what's going to happen here. But, I don't have a problem with this, especially if they bring Bobby in, I guess. It does feel a little, like I said, just kind of copying, what WWE did. But
if it's good, you're good at it, and you want to do it, it's like, why not? Like, the only reason not to do it is because people have seen it before. But like, did they not enjoy it the first time?
But with that,
I did.
You gotta have a new. I do think you gotta have a new member. Like, Will Hobbs is hurt right now. If you put him in this, like, okay, all right, now we put a new icing on this cake, or they say
Tim Taylor, or what about a Shane?
I discussed it earlier. I'm really thinking it could be Private Party.
Yeah.
I feel like
I wouldn't mind that. Or either or Top Flight. I'm like, Top Flight needs something, and they are a good tag team, so they want to do that.
Well, they have 4 members, so.
Well, more so Dante and
So you gonna
Darius,
break up them from Action Andretti and the one lady?
Exactly. You don't even know the lady, Layla Gray? Yeah, exactly. You don't even know her name is. Yes, definitely break them up. Yes. service them. Yes. All right.
I probably would like Top Flight better that way if they're not with the other two and they drop the pilot gimmick.
Like, I'm sorry, the pilot gimmick isn't working for me.
Oh,
Them
no,
coming
no.
out with the shades and stuff. I'm like, don't stop. I don't like it. It's just one moment here.
No, I mean clearly that was it was a kind of a reboot and a way to try to maybe give them something, but it doesn't work. They were just better off when they were just 2 guys flying around.
Yes, exactly. But we're trying
Top
to
Flight made perfect sense because they were high flyers. You don't have to make it stupid by making them, airplane pilots and stewardesses. Like, we get the gimmick. You don't have to fucking make it dumb and corny.
It feels like something you do when they first come in. You don't bring them to this 3rd or 4th year while they're in the company. It's like, what? I thought of this. I'm so cool with y'all. But yeah, so you need a better tag team. They want to be with the Hurt Syndicate. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. All right, now we are officially at the main event: Okada versus Bryan Danielson. Now, they did an NWA stipulation because Okada is the international champion and Danielson is the world heavyweight champion. So the rules of this match is the international championship is on the line for only the first 20 minutes of the match. After the 20 minutes of the match, that title is off the table.
Only knock I have against this show.
So, like, here's the thing, right? And people are like, and this got into a whole AEW, WWE thing, and it's like, this is what Anika thinks, right? I'm not mad at stipulation. The only thing that I don't care about is we had the match against Danielson and Moxley. So, no offense to any of this, it don't mean squat. I don't believe it. I don't believe any titles are changing hands. I'm sorry. Wrestle Dream is definitely 99.9% sure that's going to be Danielson versus Moxley. So why put any belts on the line? That's my thing. I don't like this stipulation doesn't make me believe that any title will change hands. That's just me. But what do y'all think about the stipulation?
I didn't like it. I thought it was dumb. I thought this feels like a hot shot. It feels like a hot shot way to just get these two another match before Danielson's going to lose to Moxley and go part time. Which, I feel like you already knew that you knew because Moxley Danielson is a match at Wrestle Dream. You knew Okada's not winning the title, so Danielson's winning, and you knew that Danielson isn't going to have 2 titles to lose to Moxley at Wrestle Dream. That's why they had to put in the 20 minutes, and then Okada's belt isn't on the line, which is the dumbest fucking stipulation I've ever heard in my life.
This was them trying to get out of not doing a screwy finish. That's exactly what this was. Because if they didn't do
but
this,
in and of itself, it makes it a screwy finish. So it goes 25 minutes, just long enough that Okada can't lose his belt, but then Danielson gets a clean win. Great for Danielson to get a clean win over Okada. That's great. I'm not a big Okada fan, so I'm happy about that.
I thought the stipulation was 20.
Yeah, it was, but I'm saying the match went 25 minutes, right? So you go the 20 that you have to, you go a little 5 minutes extra, and then Danielson gets a win, and the match is over. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you knew exactly what you had to do. You could have ended it in 21 minutes. I mean, that's basically all you were telling the fans you were going to do, which is fine to a certain extent. I mean, it's Okada versus Danielson. You can't really go wrong. It just felt like really bad booking. I thought it was really bad booking. That being said, the match itself is fine.
It was so good. So we'll hit this one more time, and then we'll go to the match. I think Danielson just saying, "Hey, I'm afraid this might be my last time wrestling. I don't want to leave things unsaid. Let us do this rubber match between Okada to see who's the true champion, just in case I lose." So if you do it like that with no titles, then again, I have more believability that Okada's winning. Then, right?
Yeah,
And
it would have been
never
better
made
if
the
this
match
wasn't for a title at all.
Yes.
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 Yeah, like it was
Yes.
with Nigel. Just make it a match, a non-title match, and just have the match
All right.
instead of having stupid stipulations.
Understandable.
That's,
yeah.
that's my only knock to the whole show. That's my only knock.
In my whole life of watching wrestling, and I've been watching wrestling for 40 years now. I'm 48, so probably 40 plus years. I cannot remember the last time a belt was only on the line for part of a match up
They
to
did
X
the
amount of time.
NWA thing.
Never. I don't even remember NWA doing that. So I mean, the whole thing. I mean, really, not everything original is good. I mean, I understand you have to throw some things against the wall and see what sticks. I get it. So now you should know this doesn't work. Don't ever do this again. But this was bad to begin. This is a poor idea to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, so real quick, but this was again not going in line because it was so many promos in here. So I'm not even gonna tell you what promos were where. But before the match, Danielson did this promo where he was like, "Look, this belt is not my belt. It's not Moxley belts. It is the fans' belt. This is AEW's World Heavyweight Championship belt. This proves who is the best wrestler alive. So I'm going to face Okada to prove that this is who is the best wrestler alive. And at Wrestle Dream, I'm coming to kick Moxley's butt, basically. Like it's so babyface, but it's Danielson, so it works. Now off to the match. Okay, like you said, this was so even though I didn't believe Okada was winning, the stipulation did give us a reason why Okada didn't have to be on cue. He's like, hey, all I have to do is
slow moving Okada could move even slower. It was like double slow motion, dude. The dude doesn't do anything fast ever, and he was working in extra slow motion. I mean, it was a little brutal at times, honestly.
At least there's a point to it. He's like, hey, I just gotta survive 20 minutes and I'm straight. My title is off limits. So at least there's a point to him like, oh, you hit me, I'm rolling out of the ring. Like, oh, you hit me, I'm rolling out. I'm like, hey, as long as you don't pin me for 20 minutes, I'm straight. So that was I actually did like that. And then 20 minutes passed. Now we're getting. Now we're revving it up. Now we're revving it up. Okada's like, okay, I really do want to be World Heavyweight Champion. And one of the last couple of minutes, again, we have Okada doing the freaking Danielson knee to the face. Danielson kicks out. We have Danielson doing the Rainmaker, and it was actually a good lariat across the throat, and that was great. And then here comes BCC, and someone made this note like, hey, even though the 20 minutes was for international championship, if Okada beat Danielson, he could have still been a champ. So why after the 20 minutes, y'all out here now? But you're out here. You're out here. You're out here. Okada, and Danielson gets Okada comes up. He flicks off the BCC, and rightfully so. He's like, "Cause why y'all like boo? Why y'all messing with my match? Boo!" He comes, he rolls out, storms off. I did like this because he's like, "Yeah, even though I was playing the clip for 20 minutes, I did want to be champion." So that I love that did matter to Okada. He's like, "Yeah, I'm international champion." But I did keep calling international champion. He's the New Japan Strong champion. Or something? My apologies. What? He's
Continental.
New Japan Intercontinental Champion?
No. He's the AEW Continental Champion.
There's a Continental? Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's
okay.
the belt that Eddie Kingston had from the tournament.
That's why it was so dumb. Full disclosure, last year we were doing the C2, and Eddie Kingston put all his belts on the line, and now we don't know what the freak belt Okada had. This is why it was so dumb. Don't do this crap again. Either way, my apologies. He's not international champion, he's intercontinental champion. But let's move on. But yeah, like I said, he's like, even though I'm intercontinental champion, I do want to be World Heavyweight Champion someday. So I did like him storming off. But here comes BCC. Not attacking Danielson, they just put him in chokehold for Moxley to cut a little promo on him. And so, again, Moxley, who's the best? He's like, I don't know what I have to do to get through your blueberry picking mine.
Because, like, with me, I thought that the tournament was going to combine all 3 titles, not adding a new title. I thought we were turning 2 titles into 1.
Nope, we got a third title.
So convoluted.
We got a third title. Which, at the time that Eddie put on all 3 of those championships on the line, I was like, you can't combine them all. I mean, you're not going to get rid of the Ring of Honor champion. You're going to combine the Ring of Honor world title with the Continental Classic title with the New Japan Strong title. You're not going to do, come on, that's not going to happen. Like, the whole thing was weird. But yes, digression.
But yeah, so yeah, Danielson's in a chokehold. Claudio has the arm. Pac has the arm. Marina headlock. And Moxie's like, I'm not sure what I have to do to get through your blueberry picking mind. This is above me now. This ain't about you. This ain't about me. If it was up to me, and this was very interesting. He said, I would have put you to the ground years ago. I'm like, oh, hold on, wait. So you don't want to be with BCC?
The only thing that makes sense, not to speak over you, but the only thing that makes sense in my head here is somehow, and he's not, because he's in WWE's, Regal has to play a part in here somehow. That's the only person that could be pulling strings here. Who else could be pulling Moxley's strings?
Shane.
I mean, you think it's Shane McMahon pulling Moxley's strings?
I think
the
they're
best
doing
in the world.
Wow. You think Shane is...
They're doing exponentially amount of stuff to say, oh, this picture's coincidence. Oh, we're not really doing business. Oh, it was just pictures. Stop cutting the cheese. Y'all know y'all are in talks. And I don't know who else you said. If it's not Regal or Shane, I'm not sure who else I would want in this segment of someone is telling Moxley we have to redirect AEW. I'm not sure who else I want it to be.
And honestly, I don't know that I like either. I mean, I don't know that I like that storyline. I mean, I'll let it play out. To see if they make it good. Obviously, it is what it is. It just feels like, I don't know. It feels like there's so much potential for it to be bad, the payoff to be bad, that it's like, this is, I don't know. I don't like the whole somebody pulling somebody's strings from behind the Wizard of Oz type of situation. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that. Like, it very rarely does it feel like it plays out as my expectations wanted to, or like it should. So I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's quite anybody. And definitely for me, Shane doesn't feel like he commands enough to be pulling Moxley's strings. Like, why would Moxley listen to anything Shane McMahon has to say about anything ever? Regal, I can see, but he's back with WWE and entrenched. So what's he going to be doing in the AEW storyline for? He's the only one that makes sense to me that could be controlling Moxley. I mean, in any way, shape, or form, but we'll see.
That's not really controlling Moxley, but maybe like more so in my mind, it was Shane funding this notion that AEW needs to get a paradigm shift. All puns intended. I will give you this money to make sure we take over AEW. I can see that aspect of it.
Interesting.
We're going to have a hard time beating the allegations of not being AEW biased when we spent 90 minutes talking about Raw and NXT, and then we spent 90 minutes talking about Dynamite.
Oh no. It's cool though. But no, so this wasn't the end of the segment. Yuta comes out with a hammer to help out Danielson, and on one aspect, they're like, they didn't touch Yuta. On the other aspect, he has a hammer. He has a hammer. It's just Yuta. It's Yuta with a hammer. Unless you have something that's bigger than a hammer with either a chair or a gun, I'm getting out the ring. But to play into
Nigel was like, why does Wheeler have a hammer? That's so unfair. And they're like, Moxley just... The commentary is great, dude.
Nigel and his anti-Brian bias.
Yeah. Which is I'm glad that's still there. I'm glad he's still here. But Yuta even though he's helping Danielson, he's not really against BCC because John Moxley comes out, he does a stare down with Yuta. He's like, "Hey, what you gonna do?" Because like, if you haven't seen Collision, they did do a trios match against Private Party and I'm not sure who. I want to say it was Commander. I think it was Commander. And Yuta actually got the pin, well, the submission move, and made Isaiah tap out. And he was real aggressive with it. So it's like, he still got decisions to make. And so, but I think Danielson ran off Moxley out the ring. He gets the mic. He's like, you know what? No. Yuta gets the ring. He's like, I'm tired of being treated like a child. I'm a grown man. Like, if you have to say it, you have to do more to prove that you're grown. Like, that's something you don't have to say. Something like Moxley. I think he will
Either
never
you are
say
or you
that.
aren't, right? Either you
Moxley
are or
will
you are
never
a grown
say,
man.
I'm not a child. I'm a grown man. Some people they're not gonna say it.
They didn't face BCC, so it was the Elite versus Private Party and Shibata.
No.
That was on Rampage.
That was on Rampage. Sorry, that's it. I meant Collision. Collision. Collision was Private Party and Commander versus BCC for the Trios Shadows on Collision last Saturday.
Yeah, because they were talking on Dynamite about how they were going to coexist.
Yeah.
They had that previous promo on Dynamite for BCC. They were talking about, Wheeler, what are we going to do when we have the Trios Championship on?
I heard Rampage yesterday, and I was like, oh, wasn't the Private Party match on Rampage yesterday?
Well, yeah, side note, don't listen to the internet. Collision, Grand Slam Collision was not that bad. The only thing was it ended with Sammy versus Okada, and it's Sammy versus Okada. So I wouldn't have been at the last match. That's the only thing I would have done. But fast forward here. And so Dale gets the mic, and he's like, you know what? Title Tuesday that only has a title match. But that's what we're calling it. So we're going to say it till the cows come home. Let's have a match. Me and Yuta versus, not sure who he said, but somebody from the BCC. I'm pretty sure it's Moxley and Claudia, or Moxley versus Pac. And it's like, okay, next Tuesday, tag match. Should be very interesting. I think Yuta joining the BCC. That's just, again, you have to watch Collision to get the picture. Well, I think Collision. I think Yuta's joining BCC. That's just me. And then that will leave. There's going to need more time, because if you have resigned Dan Garcia, I think Dan Garcia would have thrived in this role more than Yuta in Private Party. I think I would have loved to see Dan Garcia in this role. But I digress. That was the end of AEW Dynamite, the 5th anniversary. Thoughts?
I think Wheeler Yuta is ultimately turning on Bryan Danielson too. Yeah. I think that's part of what's going to probably cost him the match at Wrestle Dream, I think, in some way, shape, or form, and help Moxley get the title, and that's going to solidify him. And since Danielson's going away ultimately as a full-time wrestler, it's fine anyhow. We'll get Danielson Yuta down the road in his part-time capacity at some point, which is fine. Yeah. This was fun. This was fun. I enjoyed this solid main event segment. They've got all the big pieces on your big AEW pieces for the most part in your main event segment. And so, I thought it came off well. I enjoyed it. I thought this was a very solid Dynamite. I know that we're going to be accused, like Sammy said, of being, AEW homers. For the first time, I really was hoping going into Wednesday, or when I actually watched these all in a row on Friday, I watched NXT and I thought, ooh, NXT was really good. And I thought maybe this will be the week. But then you just, with the matches that AEW can give you, it's so hard to compete. And so AEW for me is still, I would give AEW an A or an A minus. And I gave what we call NXT a B plus, and I gave Raw C. So
I think the exact same. I thought that Dynamite was nearly a perfect show, aside from that stipulation, and I can't give it an A plus because of that. It's either an A or an A minus, because that was stupid. You should have just not had it as a title match to begin with.
Yeah.
So let's be very clear. AEW wins this week. I do agree, but B plus because you did too many screwy finishes. You didn't have to do double count out and Takeshita ruining Ricochet versus Osprey. You didn't have to do the dumb high stipulation with Danielson and Okada. In the women's match, it was fine, but it wasn't wasn't spectacular. And Learning Tree, just go home, Jericho. But it definitely is the winner of this week's winner, sir.
So
B
AEW
plus.
does it again. So I guess it is what it is. Well, I mean, I do think that NXT is getting better. I hope to continue their run on CW as being better. I will say this. In my opinion, for the fact that it is the only of the three that is a developmental show and should, in theory, be the third every week, for the fact that it's not, just tells you how good it actually is. That it's holding its own at times with Raw, much less with Dynamite, but more with Raw, is an indication of how good NXT is at the moment. So.
And this week it legitimately contended for that number one spot. Like if it wasn't for the matches on AEW being so freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate when you can give us Osprey and Ricochet and Okada Danielson on the same night. Like, it's hard to compete with that, especially when it's on a weekly free show. I mean, it's hard. I mean, Raw and SmackDown, in my opinion, can't. I don't think there's anything in WWE two matches that can compete with those two matches on a show. I mean, I just don't that I would personally be as excited about. So, I mean, I think that WWE's at a disadvantage to begin with. And then NXT obviously is, even less or even more so. But yeah, AEW takes the win again. AEW is now, let's see, 9-1, or we'll call it 9-2. No, let's see, we're week 10. It got to be 8-2, I guess.
8.5 versus 1.5.
There we go. That's one way to break it down. So we'll do a little house cleaning and get out of here because we do have to be back in just a few hours for our our WWE Bad Blood watch along and Collision. CM will join for Collision, but I think it will be the three of us coming back to you for Bad Blood at 3:00 Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure and come back for that in just a few hours. In the meantime, you can scan that. Let me take the banner off so it doesn't interfere with the scanning. You can scan that QR code. That will take you to Linktree, and from Linktree you can see everywhere where we're on social media, and you can get to all of our social media from one place, and you can interact with us on all of our different social media platforms. So make sure and scan that QR code and engage with us on all those. Follow us on Twitter, X. You can follow us on Twitch. You can join and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We're of course Wrestling Network. So make sure to tune in for all that stuff. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button on this channel. Hit the like button on this video. It helps a lot. Why can't I get this? There it is. You can hit the bell on the YouTube channel to be notified. That's the best way to make sure that you get a notification about a half hour, right before we're going live, or showing something on the channel. On Sundays, we are here every Sunday for Under the Squared Circle. Myself and Tammy Joe playing WWE 2K24. We are in the middle of that snap or tap tournament. The winner gets a what do we call it? We didn't want to use Money in the Bank anymore. What did you call it? A title match opportunity. How's that type of contract? We're here every Tuesday night for the cookout, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Last week we watched the first episode of the Mr. McMahon Netflix special. This week we'll be watching episode 2. So make sure and join us for that. We'll be giving you our live reactions and commentary, and we'll discuss the show as we watch it and after we watch it. We'll probably have something else to talk about after that as well. That's every Tuesday night, though, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Then we are live Friday nights at Sammy Joe and Anika watching SmackDown and Rampage live starting at 5 p.m. at the beginning of SmackDown. That's 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, running through the end of Rampage, where they'll give you their live, real-time reactions and opinions to the shows as they watch them. Then Saturday mornings, you're here with us now for the Winner's Circle, where it's the three of us talking about Raw, NXT, and Dynamite and picking our favorite show of the week. Then Saturday nights, come back tonight for Bad Blood and Collision. Normally Saturday nights is Collision Watch Along starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we watch Collision. But tonight we start at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for Bad Blood, and then we will run into Collision. So make sure and come back to that in just a few hours. Unless there's anything else, we'll say peace and get out of here. Peace.
Bye.